to those raw materials. Anybody from Jamaica? Anybody from the islands? How much product can you grow on a beach? How much vegetation can you grow on a beach? And the reason I frame that in that fashion, because if anybody has been to these islands and so forth and so on, you know very little can be grown in sandy areas. Okay, you see? So now you got to down bargain even for food because you don't have the, and what you gonna do? How much money you gonna make off of selling fish? And what we did, it would have been to their advantage if they had, which they did, but not to the degree that the European did, develop a shipping industry, and they began exploration. I know Vyasa loves this, and this is why I wish if I could rewrite history, we did this. But then we can go and make those trips around the Horn of Africa and start those relationships with people in Asia and so forth and so on. But we didn't. We didn't. So what happened was those coastal kingdoms were weaker kingdoms for this reason. I hope that is a little bit clearer. So now along comes Mr. Charlie with guns and all these resources where now we can get some power. We are more apt to do some deals so we can get in the game. You see? That's why it was like a perfect storm of what happened. Okay? We know this to the case also because some of you may have heard the term deepest, darkest Africa. Why was it called deepest, darkest Africa? Because until then, they were unsuccessful in penetrating the interior of Africa. Why so? Because those are where the stronger kingdoms lie. That's why. So here's another book for you, Laughful. Stop jumping ahead. What people can get to understand a little bit better, Bigums, to understand a little bit better is a book by Sylvanie Dua, detail about how, which you should know, and if you don't, shame on you, but you're gonna learn it from now on. Us West Africans were river Pitango, the Kwanzaa River. Yes, there's a river called one end of the river, and other end of the river, and bring the product and the people to the Europeans. This is what happened. The Europeans could not run buck wild and go up into that interior because when they did, until things like, here's one name you can look up, Mungo Park, Mungopark, but that's what happened as well. You have Livingston in the interior who finally gets in there and so forth and so on. These happened much later, centuries later, on MBK called Jungle Fever. Once they do that, they'll do what? Somehow a plane goes down and they end up in the Congo and those other regions. That's why those comic books are set up like that, because they're biting off of Tarzan, G-A-G-I. It's the first $1 million movie. Those various people, whether it's Sheena, Lord of this, and all those other, they always end up in the interior savage, and they become the king of the world because they have conquered these Africans. It's a little bit, if people are interested, to go and check the videos on the MBK channel. Yes, bone through the nose natives, and then, you know, I don't want to go in too far because this is a popular culture class, Elafu, and y'all don't get that yet. You gotta get this down before we get to the popular culture. But yes, this is where the stuff, those all have things that I'm not getting into right now, so don't try it, okay? Think you slick, Elafu. I like that though, good try. So, what else? I just 30-minute video, and it's not gonna happen like that. I wanted to give some idea of this complicitness, so once we wrestle with dealing with that fact, that the challenges in challenging that, which leads to us being here, and how those stories develop and those connections between what's now becoming something called Black Atlantic culture. I know Snell probably likes that because I didn't say the word that he wants me to say, or he thought I would say. But Black Atlantic culture, why do I say that? Because cosmopolitan cities are developing not only in the Americas, but in the Caribbean and West Africa. So now you have cities that they're saying is forming through these trades and these varying movements of people and products. Eventually, it gets encapsulated and gets exchange. And these are basically the exchange of these products, peoples, and goods amongst the Europeans, amongst the West Africans, the Native Americans, and so forth and so on. Those movement of products, peoples, and goods. Okay? So, to think that the West African is not aware, not just about enslavement, but about business or life that is going on in Europe and so forth and so on, is a misnomer, and it's a mistake if you are trying to be a student of history. It is something that we put on because somehow we put the most negative things on our people, like we're just sitting there, some dupes who have no idea about the rest of the world. Please, please, stop undercutting. Some dupes sitting there waiting for something to happen to them and no idea about the rest of the world and how the rest of the world was going. Does that mean exaggeration out of statements and understand what is trying to be related to you? I'm telling you, but due to these peoples moving around, there is information, culture, products, and different peoples and what have you. That's the point of that being relayed to you. Okay? Those links, they get severed. I'm not going to go into that. It's a whole nother thing of how they get severed, but they are there at first. Pidgin communication is formed. Those pidgin communication leads to creolized languages being formed. So Creole isn't limited to being born outside of the mother country. So just like you who were born in the New World were not born in your quote unquote mother country, are just that. Those are those Portuguese and Spanish who are born or residents for a significant amount of time in the New World. There are Africans, oh damn, this thing got some chronic, the chronic right there, he got is powerful. I don't know what he's smoking. But, ooh, Lord, I ain't been lit in a minute. I'm lit, just, ooh. Yeah, how you doing? She got a good job too. She got a uniform on, y'all. Anybody with a uniform got a good job. So yeah, you have that happening, and those Creole people forming. So what you have is who will then go back home to Africa and Sierra Leone in particular. And what language do those Sierra Leone people speak? They speak Creole. I believe it's spelled Krel. Who live somewhere, but they're not in their mother country, which is now by their Creole people. They're people who are now outside of their mother country because they had been in, and let's just use 1619, even though we know we were here before that. So you have been in this country a century, right? And so now your Creole, that Creek as far as that's concerned, and where? Sierra Leone. Hopefully, of why those Creole people are called that, and the significance and how that Creole and Creole is used. Okay? There's an abundance of stuff that we could talk about. said I'm BBW watching. Now I can see the comments. I couldn't figure out how to use the comments before. All right, Cedric, I'm focusing, man. This is Uncle Truth, man. You know you got to get a little bit of everything. Rona gloves all over the place. And I ain't mentioned that yet. I'm dipping in Dodge to try to tell you niggas there was a story about King Alfonso and Queen is giving me a break, y'all. How does fish grease out here, and I got the hoodie and the mask on, shook. And of course, being right. What? The garbage. Rona gloves all over the place. Now I'm out here talking about Negro fun facts. I'm serious about this. You are not just listening to the random Negro and the internet and writing this down and open up those tabs for what I have just been saying. Your own lying eyes. Please, I am not begging. I'm asking you. That's the least that you could do. The least that you could do is put some effort in and open up the tabs. Open now. Yeah, this should be a video game, right? Dodging Rona gloves. Uh-oh, we might have another one. Hey. Is that your... Snap, you know I gotta have some fun with it, man. Oh, Lord, I done played myself. Alan, we need a workout video or something. What in the world? They still got Uggs out here? Uggs. So you have those things and you do... I mean, it's Rona days, y'all. Anything is on deck in Rona days. Let me tell you that. Shit, it's tough goings out here. Hey, baby, what can we do from 10 feet away? I love my people entirely too much. You know how much Europeans pay me for the same damn information I gotta beg y'all to listen to? One day I'm gonna show you. Europeans is cutting me checks right and left. I got to beg Negroes to learn about Alfonso, and then you gonna argue with me. You ain't read one damn source of what I'm talking about, but you gonna argue about everything. I swear I love my people more than anything in the world, Akaba. I got to be crazy as hell doing this for free. Got to be out my rabbit ass mind. I'll just give it all for free because my people really need it, and they just turn around and want to beat me in the head. God damn, well, I kick my own ass sometime. What was I saying? Got me tight up, them people on the internet. Guess who needs a social life, folks? Yours truly. Tough love, LB? Tough love, I guess so. Yes, the class is coming soon. Charles Young, he's a very important person. That's what you can do. No, he ain't got nothing to do with Alfonso or Mbemba and on Ubuntu Babutu. Good old American Negro, very important. Obviously got a big ass park named after him. Look up Colonel Charles Young. Hold that. That should be tab number 12 or 13 or whatever. So you don't think we're talking about Kunta Kinte cousins all day. We did stuff right here too, y'all. I'm just trying to tell y'all how we got here. So, what else we got? I hope these ain't no Rona benches I'm about to sit on. Nah, they said the Rona stay on surfaces, right? I can't even sit down. Who in the hell sits on this? Who is this for? Oh, this is like Taharka seat, right? This is something Taharka would sit on. This little ass seat. This is Taharka seat right here. Taharka Bay seat. Everybody, stop taking yourself. Learning should be fun. That's what I thought it would be, but people get in their feelings, so the heck with it. So, can I answer maybe a question or two? Because now I'm down to 20%. I don't know how fast this thing go. This the iPhone 11. So I guess that's supposed to mean something about battery life. I don't know why I mentioned that. That's corny. Who gets props off a phone anymore? Nigga, this the iPhone 11. That's weird. So yeah. If there's any questions, let me see. Where's the question thing? Okay, there it go again. If I could see any questions that I can add. Black military act. Yes, Colonel Charles Young. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. There you go. National Park admin. There you go. The island of Argoon. Come on, Khalil, man. You asked me about this other Argoon. Then I'm going to have to get into Cape Verde. Can I please save that for the next video? Good Lord. That's why I like some of y'all. Y'all be kicking me in my field. What about this? I love it though. Love it. No, I'm not playing that game, Khalil. No, I'll speak to you later, fam. I'll tell you about the Grouchos. Because if I get into that, Vyasa's gonna have me out here talking about Cimarroons and talking about, no, I know it. This is just a setup. Yes, I did bring up the Moors. So what? It was to prove a point, man. Sheesh. So people explain this now. Oh God, black pepper is with big stuff as well. People who may have some understanding of Marco Polo and all those things will understand the significance of spices and how that black pepper was literally Jesus Christ is jokes around, not jokes around, but he says that all the time. But it was very important. It's right up there with cola and gold and what have you, and black gold was the name of the black pepper, and yes, nutmeg. You see, folks, I'm gonna tell y'all if y'all don't know, there's certain people who in this chat who I love dearly, and they know I'm a super nerd with this, so they didn't tend to throw stuff out here to make me just talk about it. Some of those people are Jesus Christ's and Vyasa, and Seneb stopped doing it now. He just beat me in the head in the back chat and make me talk about this all day. But there are certain people. Can I pick up my phone? Can I pick my phone up? Oh, I'm sorry. Who they use a pervert, man. They out here though. It's jogging season, hey. Yeah, y'all. So, man, like I said, we could go on for hours and hours and hours, and this is a semester's worth of material, which goes into greater detail about everything I mentioned is its own class. Trust me. There's 2 hours worth of lecture just on Congo. There's 2 hours worth of lecture on the Zinga and so forth and so on. I'm just trying to give some people an overview of what the information that I was trying to begin to disseminate to people, and not necessarily for a fight, so they could get I hope this gives a clearer context with the materials, so you can go further and do your own research. I'm on this app right now where I can't pull up the information, but I've given it to you, and I have the primary sources, and Seneb and Alan have talked about it in previous videos on our channel if you wish to go back and actually find them. But we have those. This was the point of having Rob Bourne on Garfield's channel on there, so he could bring those up. Peace, Michael Phillips, while I read the materials, so if there's room for debate, we can have a more dynamic discussion because you are aware of the materials. If you're just being introduced to the materials, how do you have a foot to stand on to debate things you're just hearing about? That's intellectually dishonest, and it's going to lead to argumentation that doesn't need to be happen because one side is not based on any knowledge of the information. I need that to be clear. This is not knowing. So if you have access to the materials and you can read the materials and so forth and so on, then a more dynamic discussion, or if it's debate, can happen because it's based on documentation that you both have. Not one side having documentation, on the other side trying to refute times, places, and things that you honestly have no idea about. And that's, once again, that's not a jab. It's like me getting to a conversation with someone about the intricacies of Sumer. I can't just come and bang on Sumer or whatever and me not taking the time to read about the information in the Sumer. I can't just have a debate with my brother Dahudi about things that happen in Kemet if I've never read the materials on Kemet. I'm sorry for the noise right here, y'all. Ambulance, hopefully no corona victims, might be corona victims, but that's intellectually dishonest, and it doesn't provide a rich conversation, and no one benefits from that. So what I gotta do, Dahudi tells me, hey, if you wanna go read this materials on Kemet and so forth and so on, and then come back to me. Okay, humble myself, buckle down, read the information that he provides for me. Maybe I'll have a list of questions, or maybe I'll have some disagreement on how he view the source material or COVID-19 or whatever if I haven't read the materials on it. It's just me bombarding with questions and questions and questions that it's not leading to a cohesive conversation. It leads to an interrogation. And that's not fair because your interrogation isn't based on any knowledge of the situation. I hope that's clear for everybody across the board. For everything that you want to do. It's not just history, it's anything. You're not gonna go to argue with somebody at work if you don't understand the work that you're getting into. You understand? That's important important for people to know. It's important for people not to jump out the window like that, especially our children, right? You know your kid does this, and you're looking at your kid like you don't know what the hell you even talking about, right? Let me see if there's any questions before I go, because I don't even know how much charge I got in this phone. Were Africans brought to the Azores? Yes, they were brought to the Azores. They were also brought to Madeira. What happens on there? This is where you get your Jews to start coming to this. Oh, God damn it, y'all got me to go into this. This is where you get your Jews to start to come into this, because they are the ones behind this with the money, because now we have sugar being the main thing and alcohol. And that alcohol is the wine that's developed from those grapes, in particular in places like Madeira. So I want look up Madeira, and you will see something called Madeira wine. Some of you may even have it in your cabinets. And you can see that's it. Folks, this is the crazy part. Check this out. We were enslaving the Moors and some West Africans in Portugal. For what? To work on plants. That's the crazy part. It didn't just start when they brought you to Jamaica or whatever. They were doing it in Europe, enslaving the Moors and some West Africans. Why? Because for some reason, and they don't go into great detail, the Moors and some of the West Africans had the ability to take the sugar at the right temperature. They would extract the sugar before it broke down too much and then take its various parts from it to do what they wanted to do. So guess what? What I'm telling you is to go with some West Africans and primarily Moors. Okay? This is what they were doing when they were enslaving those Moors. They had them experimenting on small plantations in Portugal with sugar. Okay? I know that's a little fun fact I throw in there for y'all. I hope y'all appreciate that one, because not many people are aware of that one. But yes, then also in the Azores, and they get into Cape Verde. No, I'm not doing all that right now. I'm sorry. I think you slick. Right. So this big thing was about alcohol, y'all. So where the alcohol is where you will find the Jews. Does it just limit it to the Azores, Madeira, and what have you? Guess who were the people who benefited off of the rum? It was, guess who were the beer makers? It was the Jews. Now let me bust your head with this one. I want everybody to go, type Brewers Shield. Now the first person to go, oh snap, this nigga's nice. Thank you very much. Anybody type it yet? What is the Brewers Shield? Come on, my battery's dying. Somebody put it in. There you go, Laugher. Uh-huh. What does the Brewers Shield look like, friends? The Star of David. Bingo. Now do you see? They're involved in the alcohol. This is one of those lessons, y'all, when y'all get in the class, y'all gonna have the more details on this, you're gonna be like, yo, I'm going to arm you with powerful stuff. I promise you, and give you every single primary once you join the class that will be coming shortly, and how you pay and the weeks and the length and all that stuff you will get in the primary documents you will all get, and some books that you will get, and the whole bit. I promise you it'll be whatever I put the value on it as. I hope just by this video enough. I got nothing in my hands and nowhere. This is all off the dome. You believe that I know what I am talking about. I'm not here to just try to impress you. I really am here because I want my people to be informed. What I'm not doing anymore is doing it in such a crazy setting. It's going to be in a teaching environment, and it's going to be an environment where you pay. Guess what? We now have an obligation. I have an obligation to you, and you have an obligation to me. That's why you appreciate it more. And just straight up, ain't nothing worth having free. Nothing worth having free. Okay? So, with that said, folks, I hope some things have been slowed down and cleared up a bit. So people, thank you for the donation. People understand what was really going on. I hope you got at least 8 to 12 tabs open with this stuff that you can do further research on. I hope you have those names, and I hope you have enough stuff, depending on how old your children are, to pass along to them so they can begin their studies. You don't want to bombard them with all this stuff, but there might be little things you could extract from this. Say, hey kid, look up this, or hey kid, here's Congo, or here's Angola, or what. Y'all for joining, and I hope that you learned at least one thing that you didn't know before you joined. The random Negro goes nowhere. The reason that I was going around saying I want to smoke and make it all this challenge or whatever, because I thought we could have a, that's all. Hey, let's have it in this fun way, just like RZA and Primo or Swiss Beats and Timbaland do it, where the winners, the true winners in this, was the audience. Some people say Primo won, RZA won. I say the people who are hip hop heads won that way and think that everything just needs to be so combative. And that's not what I want to do or partake in, because the main objective is to try to get people some good information so they can boo boo calling me now and everything. Yeah, I done messed up. So it was me and you. Come on, bro, man. I got 10% left. Please don't make me do this. I'm gonna keep going. So with that, what is it? Like the video, share the video if you haven't subscribed to the channel. Um, if you'd like to support, it's History Man 718. That's the Cash App. Of course, I appreciate it. So what? So I can get more materials, and my millennials are giving me a little list, and CK is giving me a list of some of this technology I need to buy, so you ain't just staring at the ground with shaky footage or whatever. All right. Peace, and above all, in these trying times, reach out to your family. Those are living history that we have.
Okay, this one. Doom, doom, doom. Give me 1 second, man. This is the reason to leave. Doom, doom.
Can I say something while you're looking at your page?
Oh boy. Okay, right here. It says this is the earliest recorded encounter between the Portuguese and the people of Africa south of Bojara, which is known as Rio de Oro. Not surprisingly, given the Portuguese intention to capture one of them, it was not a peaceful one, according to Zuara. As soon as the two youths saw the 19 men, they went after them with great courage, apparently emboldened by the assessment of the local weaponry. The 19 took refuge in nearby rocky terrain and held off the Portuguese until nightfall. Then it's going to continue with the same exact thing. Zuriera's version of the first encounter. Same exact thing. Same exact thing. We are talking about the same exact area, bro.
Was somebody fighting there, Rob Bourne?
Yeah,
Did you say somebody was fighting?
they tried to come over there and take captives. They came 2 times and they beat them up and ran them
Who?
away. So then they made a new
Who?
rule up and said that it would be better for us to trade with these Africans instead of trying to steal them. And that's what happened, bro.
Oh, man. All right, thank you. Know what, y'all? Appreciate that, bro. I'm gonna use your source in the argument. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you, though.
That's what
Thank you,
happened,
bro.
bro.
Can I say something?
So I want
Yeah,
to
go
get
ahead.
back to. Oh, go ahead.
Yes,
Go
thank you.
ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Earlier, I heard about the origin of the slave trade, but we all agree that it started with the Muslim conquest in the 7th century, the Pax Agreement, where Nubia had to send 360 slaves every year to Muslim Egypt. Do we agree with that?
Do I agree with what?
Because earlier I heard you mentioning that we were talking about the origin of the slave trade. But so far, I heard about dates like the 14th century and so on. But there was in the 7th century, there was the Pact Agreement where Nubia had to send 360 slaves every year to Muslim.
You are 100% correct, and that's in the book called The Transatlantic Slave Trade by Richard Wright. You are 100% correct.
Nobody's saying that the slave trade originated with the Christian folks, Shaka. All right.
Yeah, he's up in it right. So now this is going back to the brother when he's saying that my source didn't say what I'm saying and making up something. It said presumably it was the skin color and geographical contingency that first suggested the inclusion of the peoples of Royal de Oro in the category of Moor. That was commonly used by the Portuguese to identify the enemies in Morocco. But Zerera, apparently competent in applying the term to the 19 men who got away, is belied first of all by the characterization of the novelty of the contact between the Portuguese and these Moors, and secondly by his own uncertainty as to their religious identity. These dudes that when we talk about this 1441 expedition and these things that took place with this actual trade, they're specifically telling you who the people are, what their skin color is, and this so-called Moor term that they called them. They didn't know what these people were. They just thought that they were Moors because they were black. They just thought that. They just named them that shit. And in order to name them that, they had to make up a reason so that they could go conquer the non-pagan, the pagan people, bro. This is what took place.
Hey, Rob Bowen.
Prester John. You left out Prester John.
Yeah, I said that the last show.
Oh, okay.
Hold on. Hey, Garfield, I just want to make sure because, I'm always the crazy drunk nigga. So did Rob Bowen just read that they came over there shooting at niggas, right? Check this out. First time they didn't get away with it. Second time they came shooting with niggas. Then they say, hey, you know what? We can't come guns are flying right now. Let's just trade with them. So they stuck. Like I said initially, they played the trade game, yo. That's the same thing. That is my source. Chancellor Williams, Destruction of Black Civilization. That's one of my sources. Remember, he spent 40 years over there, 20 to 40 years, somewhere between 20 and 40 years over there. Not 40, 20 years in Africa. His accounts is that when they couldn't get you with guns and blazes, they faked you out with the trade nonsense. So they set up those, I want to get you to Elmina joint. Now, they set that up as a trade. It was a trading post at first, dude. It wasn't a slave post at first. It was a trading post with a damn church. That's how that was. You saying it was, okay, go ahead. What did you say, Ramon?
No, I didn't say nothing.
I'm just saying it was a trading post, yo. The trading post went from a trading
we are in agreement with that, bro. No, I'm in agreement with you. So what are we talking about?
So we ain't talking about shit then. If you in agreement with me, let me shut the hell up, because that's all I've been trying to say for the last 2 days. That's it.
Nah, you said something else, and maybe you didn't elaborate on that. What you said, you was like, yo, you specifically said no Africans came over here to the Americas and they didn't sell their own people. That's what you said. Then you changed it. You did, and then you changed it. Then you changed it. Then you said, okay, let me not say that. We're not gonna call them Africans. We're gonna say these portion of Pacific tribes. Then you made your drug comparison. This is what you said yesterday, bro.
All right, bro. I said that. So you showed me where African king. Let me get this straight. You showed me a source where African king came to America.
He sent his missionaries.
Came back.
I just showed you that they went to. Bro, I showed you that they went to Portugal and they was discussing the negotiation of how they're gonna conduct their trade, son. If you have a problem with that source, then I'm saying
that's the Moor guy, right?
No, that ain't even the Moor guy. That ain't even him.
That's the homie.
That's the homie person.
The homie king. So they met in.
What time period is the homie? Hold on. What time period?
This is 17. This is 1750, bro. And this is why I asked you. This is why I asked you initially. I said, Unc, when are you saying that the African didn't know what the European was doing? Okay. This is when that's why I asked you that.
You're right. So let me focus this. And I'm gonna make my words very clear. And I kept saying, I said, at first. You know what at first means? It don't mean the 1700s ain't at first.
Yeah, exactly.
At first is the beginning of the slave trade. That's why I said at first they didn't know. And then I said they did full aware understood what they was doing. And I said, even with that, you still less than 1% of the daggone population that actually participated. Not even 1%. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't even that. Like you can't glorify that.
Yeah, but that's the problem I'm having with you though. The problem that you keep saying when you saying this 0.1%, that could be only associated with people who sold their own people. When we're talking about the slave trade, these dudes you were right. There was the gun trade. They gave guns to this side, then gave guns to the other side, and put people against each other. At the end of the day, there was these Africans were catching these captives and sending them over here, bro. That's what happened.
But who denies that? But that's not what happened at first, yo.
I got you, bro. Yo, what happened at first is the same exact thing that we talking about. That dude was free, bro. He got away. He didn't have to go back and do no trade with them fucking Europeans. They was on the coast chilling. They thought that he wasn't going to come back. They waited 7 days in this. They waited 7 days, The nigga was free for 7 days. He could have warned his people, told niggas we got some European. I don't even understand why they was even trading with them in the first place. I don't understand that part of the story. If you time you meet these Europeans, they come over there and they trying to snatch your ass up. The word should have been out, yo, don't trade with these dudes. I don't know I don't know why they did that. I don't have an answer.
Can I tell you? Can I give you a good reason? Can I give you a good idea? It's called the gun. It's called I know. Hold on, let me finish. I'm saying I think you pretty much can see when you got something you had never seen before, snatch you up, and then maybe we don't know what was going through his mind. Maybe out of him trying to save his people, maybe you already know we have no protection against what they got, bro. So I'm just gonna get
well. Why did the I got you, but why did the Europeans talk about the 2 raids that they made? And them Africans shot them up with some arrows and poison, and they killed. And they was like, "Yo, we can't do this. We're gonna lose more people." If they thought their technology was that superior at that point, why didn't they just be like, "Yo, son, we just coming in with the gun"? Why come in with the trade? They knew they couldn't do that.
Hold on, because we know that the first gun they was having, where you got to load up the musket, that wasn't effective against the African spear because you had one shot. So we know that, Rob. We know that wasn't effective at first.
Yeah, but we talking about the beginning, though. Yeah, but we talking about. I got you, bro. But we talking about the beginning, bro. And we can't go nowhere except that point. Once we get to that point, then we can move on down the line and go to the 15, 16, and go through all of these different regions, bro.
Rabon, can I ask you, what ethnic group was Adahu, and what was his position?
They don't know. There's no confirmation on that. They have no confirmation. The only thing we know is that the dude is black, and this is why they call him a Moor. And I just read it to you on why they did that. The reason they called these people Moors and all these other things is because they were carrying out the crusade still, bro. They were still, in order to go to war.
I see other information. I see other information.
Okay.
I see that
put your information.
I see Adahu was a Zangai.
Okay.
And he was a Muslim. And I'm looking up.
No, he's not a Muslim. He's not a Muslim.
I'm telling you what. If you go to encyclopedia, it says that he was a chief of the Zanagi people. And they were Muslim. He spoke Arabic. He spoke Arabic with his captors with a Bedouin interpreter. Yeah. Now I'm looking up who the Azangai people are. Yeah. If I'm even pronouncing it properly.
Some shit with the AMZAGIR.
Yeah.
They don't know. So now,
right
I got that. Now here's the whole point of this. I want you to understand, brother, that's telling me this. The only source to this is the primary. The primary is Prince Henry the Navigator's Chronicler. You ain't finding nothing out of that. There's nothing that predates or goes around that. I just read to you that they didn't know what these people were. They didn't know what was. They assumed that he could have been a Muslim. They assumed that he could have been a part of this tribe. So you have to go to the primary. This thing that I'm reading to you is coming from the primary. The primary, there's no other story behind this. You can't go past that. Anything after that is an assumption, bro. Because when you say he's black, what do you mean? These dark skin. And this, you want me to show you again? I'm gonna pull it up again.
No. Okay,
let me go. No. We gotta do it again.
Man,
we gotta do this again.
Come
Because
on,
we gotta do it again.
Oh no, wait,
Rob, you running me off my own live stream, bro. Come on, man.
What? You don't want yo, he asking me a question and I keep putting this shit on the screen.
He gotta rewind the tape, bro. We ain't got time for all of that, man. Come on, man.
Well, it's right there again. Second, after 7/11, the term Moor was saddled with religious contention stemming from the simple fact that from 7/11 on to the Moroccans and Arabs who came to Spain as conquerors, immigrants were Muslims. It was, of course, specifically the religious component of Moorness that was used to justify hostility towards the people. Presumably, it was skin color. And geographical continuity that first suggested the inclusion of the people of Rio de Oro in the category of the term Moor. Portuguese, these Moors, secondly, by his own uncertainty as to the religious identity of the Moor and those people, bro. That's the primary.
Hey, Rob, do you know where that place is that you showed me, right? It's right next door to, hold on, bro. It's right next door to Mauritania, which is
that's fine, brother.
Hold on. So you trying to say they stopped at the line, bro?
Yo, bro, I'm not saying they stopped at anywhere. All you have to do is produce a primary that says this dude was a Muslim. I don't want to do
just give an encyclopedia. So encyclopedia don't count, bro?
Yo, dude, the encyclopedia can only quote one. Yo, listen, when people quote certain things, right? If I quote a primary, they could put their assumption in it. When you read the exact source, I read it. I'm telling you, I read it. I read the source. It don't say nothing about, because I was going against the Moors with this shit. And then I thought about it, and then I was like, yo, Danny, they don't even know this dude is a Muslim. We can't even blame this on them now because he's not known as a Muslim. So we can't call him no more. So I had to stop saying that because I realized my error after looking at the primary. So just because there's Muslims in the area, that don't make them Muslim, bro.
Yeah.
But your own source. I mean, hold on. Just 1 second. Because the source he just put up,
I can get one more box. I can get maybe 1 or 2 boxes.
His source said there were Berbers, the indigenous people of the Moroccan islands. There were the Arabs who had recently conquered and began to settle in the Maghreb. 8th century Latin sources from Spain distinguished between Maori and Arab, but before the long terms became synonymous, and ultimately by the later Middle Ages, Moor had all but eclipsed Arab in vernacular usage. So we see Moor and Arab are synonymous, first off, right? That's the history of the word. Due to the growing percentage of sub-Saharan blacks among the slave population in Morocco and Grenada, the category of Moor was stretched to accommodate black Moors, right? Second, after 7/11, the term Moor was saddled with religious connotations. From the simple fact that the Moroccans and Arabs who came to Spain as conquerors and immigrants were Muslims. It was, of course, specifically this religious component of Moorness that was used to justify Ibero-Christian hostility towards the Moors in the struggle for peninsular hegemony. Presumably, and I'm just going to go down, presumably there was skin color and geographical contingencies that first suggested the inclusion of the peoples of Rio de Oro in a category of Moor. I'm trying to figure out how this person isn't an Arab or a Moor right now, because your own sources.
Read that again.
Okay, so here we go. I got it on the screen. See, here's the problem. No, okay, hold on. I read that same thing 10 times. Now here's the problem. When you just see a source and you never read this article, you never seen it in your life. So now when you read on down further, it says, in other words, those Zuara did not hesitate to call all the people of Rio de Oro Moors, and presumably an ethnic or geographical sense, he was not at all confident about the appropriateness of their inclusion in the so-called religious category Moor, bro. You need to read this whole thing before you come talk, bro. This is what we teach.
The source just said Moor was synonymous with Arabs and Berbers before it became a religious term. What are you talking about?
Yo, religious. Yo, and then it says ethnicity on the bottom.
Right now.
Oh, dude, I just read this shit to you, bro. That shit, y'all niggas is crazy.
Berber Arab was synonymous with war before it became a religious connotation.
Yo, man, this shit is crazy, bro. This shit is crazy, bro. Crazy. Okay, my screen is still showing, right? Screen still showing. Still showing, right? As the Portuguese encountered more of Guinea's inhabitants, the terms black, Moors, Ethiopians, Guineas, and Negroes are the descriptive terms to which a religious signifier was appended, such as Moors, who were Gentiles and pagans, gradually constituted the rootless and sovereignless, and in many cases simply slaves. As the Portuguese perceived distinctions among the peoples they encountered and began acting in accordance with their perception, Infident Henrique sought to culturally pop out approval for the subject deeds by leaking Portuguese activities in Guinea and their conquest. So right here above here, they're telling you what they're calling these people, bro. So
no, but see,
yo, dude, what I'm doing is no, bro. You're not gonna critique. You can't critique something you didn't read, bro. And I'm showing you don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't. You don't know what you're talking about.
You just have to be right.
Dude, man. I'm gone. I'm out of here.
Hey, Raw.
Until you saw something, I'm gone.
Raw. What are you doing?
What are you talking about?
I'm gone, bro. I'm gone, bro. I'm gone.
Raw.
I'm gone.
You gotta hear what the other party's saying, bro.
Yo, dude, if I read this and before I even talk about it, I'm telling you what this shit say. Then I'll pull it up because you don't believe me, so I gotta show you the goddamn source. I'm telling you that source? I am telling you, yes, it's coming from the Chronicles of Zuera, bro. That's what it's coming from. Do you have that? Do you have that primary, yes or no? Do you have it? I bet you don't. You never read it. And you're talking to me. You don't know what you're talking about. Bro, listen to me. No, I'm gone, man. You shut up. Source up or shut up, man. You can't argue with me with my shit. Get out of here, man. You gone. Fuck.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Am I crazy?
Man, talk
Hey, hold a second. Shango, hold on 1 second. 1 second. Let's just take a deep breath. Let's just take a deep breath.
It's your fault, Garfield. It's your fault, Garfield.
Y'all could go ahead, man. Y'all could go ahead.
It's your fault, Garfield. You just let the New York. If you're from New York, you gotta take up the whole show and bring a whole presentation every damn time. Like, goddamn. Let somebody talk sometimes. Come on, yo. Let me talk, yo.
That shit is crazy, yo. But anyway, Shango, what was your point, Shango? What was your point?
My point was that he was trying to say that these people. Okay, so he brought up Rio de Oro, and I wish he would have brought up a map to show you where that is, because unless I spelled it wrong, that is literally off the coast of Spain, in northern Africa. He's trying to make it seem like, because he said, well, they started in Guinea, then they went to Rio de Oro to go conquer people. And I'm trying to see the continuity of his argument, and he was trying to say that more. Because the first source he showed, right? If you look at the paragraph above it, and I'm gonna just put it on my screen right now, just so everyone is on the same page, right? I'm just gonna share my screen.
Oh, my man got a source for you, Rob Bond. Look at that. He got a source for you.
Rob,
go ahead, my man.
This is the source. Look at the first paragraph and what they say about Moors and Berbers and Arabs. Moor had all but eclipsed Arab in vernacular usage. Moor was synonymous with Arab. After 711, the term Moor was saddled with religious connotations, stemming from the fact that from 711 on, the Moroccans and Arabs who came to Spain as conquerors and immigrants were Muslims. Presumably, then they go on next. Presumably, it was skin color and geographic geographical contingency, whatever, that suggested the inclusion of the peoples of Rio de Oro in a category of Moors. So now we need to look up this area he's talking about. Rio de Oro.
You got to read the next page though, because the next page clear it up.
Can you
I got this source if you want me to put it, if you want me to pull it up. I think I got it right here. Hold on there. I think I got it on my computer right here. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. Damn, man, I don't know why. You see, you got my man Source on Demand. Y'all got to use my man when he's on here, man. It's my dude, Source on Demand, man. Man, damn. Now I got to go find the source and all that shit. Go through my own shit. Oh man, you're killing me right now. Hold on there 1 second. Let me see if I got it right here. Dana Marici. Maroons. All right, see, my man came back to help. All right, go ahead, Rob, on show the source, and don't get too hyper, man. Go ahead and show the source on the next page, so I ain't got to look for it. Go ahead, Rob, on.
I thought Shango had that source, bro. So he was reading from the source, wasn't he?
No, he had clip, he had screenshot, he screenshotted it. I think that page that the dude is bringing up is very important though, because the word, and I'm not saying Shango is correct, the word more, because I was going to use it against Sharif Bey, because Sharif Bey used this when he talked on Taharka Bey's channel, but he left this out. So the word more, when people use it, you got to be careful and in the context.
Oh,
right? You got to be careful in the context.
I was waiting for her trash can for 100 County. Let me get your trash can. Focus.
Yeah, Robon, what's up, Robon?
So Garfield, where you at?
Yeah, I'm right here.
So we know what Mauritania is, though, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Yeah, I know. We know where it is.
Right beside the place. That's right beside the place that we're talking about. Am I correct?
Yes.
So basically, they left them alone. The Arabs left them alone. Well, who had control over that? What's the name of the empire? Say Rio de that. That's a Spanish name, though. Am I correct?
Yes, that was an Arab. Look, that was the empire that was sent. I forget his name, but that was literally that's the area of the empire that went in Spain. It was a multiracial. It was a multiracial army because the Ghana Empire had just collapsed. They're going into Spain. They're getting all these African soldiers to join their armies to go into Spain, but they also had Berbers and Arabs, which is what I was asking. I was like, can you please show us where it says this person is black? Because he's trying to use the name Moor as it's associated to whole groups of people to say he was black, but he wants to ignore the fact that they also say Moor also means Berber and Arab. So how do we know?
I thought they was
know if he was black. So this
I thought
is
they
all
was Berbers
speculation.
right there, though. Yeah. Kind of thought they was Berbers right there anyway, though. But because Mauritania had the Berbers in there. What I
Yeah.
was saying is right
I
there.
think
And then back then
that's
you
why I
don't
think
have
it's
no
a Berber.
line. That's what I thought it was.
That's why I said he was probably a Berber because they're talking about Berbers. They're saying that based on skin color and the way the paragraph is worded, they're relating it to Arabs and Berbers in an area that's known for Arabs and Berbers. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
yeah. I think he was a Berber because if you look at what uh Azange, if you look at that, what it is in the books, Slave Trade, the story of the Atlantic slave trade by Hugh Thomas, he said most of the captives who were on this day were Azangai, now usually known by their Berber name of Sanhaja or Izdegin, from today what is the southern part of the modern state of Sahara or the northern part of Mauritania. These people later seem to Venetian adventurer Alvise Kadam Mosto, who would visit them in their own lands, tawny, squat, and miserable, in comparison with the blacks from further south who were well-built, noble-looking men. So they make a clear distinction between the uh, the Berbers and the blacks.
Hmm. So you basically
He
saying
was,
the
he was a
first
Berber.
man.
All right, hold on a second, guys. Let me just share the screen real quick. All right.
What you reading, Garfield? Is he a Berber or is he sub-Saharan African? He's in that area with them Berbers. What did you take out there?
Hold on 1 second. Let me just read this whole thing about the Moor. All right. Presumably, it was skin color and geographical contiguity that first suggested the inclusion of the peoples of Rio de Oro in the category of Moor that was commonly used by the Portuguese to identify the enemy Morocco. But Zorara's apparent confidence in applying the term to the 19 men who got away is belied, first off, all by his characterization of the novelty of the contact between the Portuguese and these Moors, and secondly, by his own uncertainty as to their religious identity. After describing Goncalves' disappointment at not having fulfilled Henry's wishes, Zorara wrote that he returned to Portugal without having any certain knowledge as to whether these men were Moors or Gentiles, or as to what kind of life they led or manner by living they had. In other words, though Zorara did not hesitate to call the people of Rio de Oro Moors, in presumably an ethnic or geographic sense, he was not at all confident about the appropriateness of their inclusion in the religious category Moor. I hope that
So why would he
helps.
say So why would he say Gentile though? I mean, he wasn't trying to call the African people no Gentiles, was he? Well, them Berbers would look a
Well, the
little more like
African
a
people would,
Gentile.
but the African people would be Gentiles because if you're not a Jew, you're a Gentile. Duh.
Yeah, Zaya argued me to death though on that. Remember, because he could be a nation to go in. That's another conversation right there.
Going, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So hold on. So wait a minute. So based off what you read, what did it help you? What is you
They
saying it
don't
was?
know what he was. He just basically use the term more. It don't necessarily have anything. He's just using it. He's not
Yeah,
using it
it's
to
a racial
say
connotation.
anything. But it's not a religious. He's not using it for religious purposes. That's the key. He's not.
So why would you use it? So why would anybody use that as part of the royal family to refute me on that at first the African kings didn't do it if you wasn't sure that was an African? Oh, come on, man. I ain't gonna say it,
Hey,
yo. I ain't gonna say it.
I brought that
I
up
hear this
a long
again.
time ago because I asked, was he a Berber? I said, was he a Berber? You said more. Was he a Berber? He was like, well, we don't know. From his own words, he said, we don't know. We don't know his skin color. But his own
See the
source
better.
gives about half of a page of description of describing Moors as Arabs and Berbers. I'm just trying to figure this out right now. That's why I said his own source bodied him, because they don't mention black people in his own source. The first source he gave. They don't mention no black people. In an area like
Hold on a
I'm
second,
listening,
Shango. I have a
God.
problem with that. So what are you saying, Shango? That Adahu the Moor was what? What was he?
well,
He must have black. He must have been black. He must have been, because if you read earlier, if you read the context, listen, all right, you see right here, it says presumably, right, it was the skin color and geographic contiguity that first suggested the inclusion of the people of Red in the category, right, of Moor, right? That's what everybody is saying. That's what it means. All right, hold on 1 second. Let me look at something real quickly here at the bottom. Hold on, let me look at another
Then
source.
after 700s, it says something. After 711, it's all being applied to what?
Religion. But before, it was used to describe Berbers and Arabs exclusively.
Look at this, right? Hold on. Let's look at the source and then look at the sources. All right. This is how we work, right? This is what happened. Zorara in Chronica, chapter 10, page 62, Chronicle. Zorara's confusion stemmed from the fact that while these peoples may have resembled the Moors of Morocco in physical appearance, they had not experienced any significant contact with Islam. They were, in the words of A.J. Dias Dinis, isolated from Islamic community in general and removed from the caravan routes. They were not referenced by Arab authors or by Sudanese chronicles. So
black in that context.
No. I'm not saying, my brother. I'm not saying that.
Why don't you read that again? Garfield, I dare you read that again.
Zorara's confusion stemmed from the fact that while these peoples may have resembled the Moors of Morocco in physical appearance.
Stop right there.
That's a body.
So we already know they wasn't no motherfucking West African motherfuckers looking like no daggone Mauritanians, bro. So how you gonna play that one, Garfield?
Hey, brother Garfield.
That's a body bag on Rock.
Brother Garfield.
Hold on. What's up, bro?
Brother, yeah. Can I read further in that article?
Where you want me to scroll down to?
I have the clip. Let me share it real quick since we all on the same article.
All right, go ahead, brother.
Give me 1 second, brother. Give me 1 second to share the screen here.
So Rob Bourne, but didn't they say they ain't know though, Rob Bourne?
No. I know where he's going. They continued on their way, but shortly afterwards, they saw the Black Moors and thought they were a part of the group that they already took. So that proves that they were black. I know where he's going.
Exactly. So, but is my screen showing? Is my screen showing?
Hold on, Hold on,
is my screen showing?
Hold on, Unc. Let him read it. I know where he's going.
Okay.
All right. For sure.
All right. Am I able to read?
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
It says, again, there is little in the way of description of the captives. Again, there is little in way of the description of the captives. The male is simply a naked, poorly armed man. The female is a black Moorish, a slave. Thanks to the timely arrival of another Portuguese ship at Rio de Oro, a ship that counted among its crew one of Prince Henry's Arab servants, so we know that they know the difference between Arabs. Henry's Arab servants, Antonio Gonzalez, could interrogate his captives in Moorish, but neither the naked man nor the black Moorish understood. Their language, Zora observed, was very different. Again, despite the accumulation of inaccuracies between the image of the Moor that the Portuguese brought with them and their empirical experience of these naked, religiously unidentified, non-Moorish speaking inhabitants of this part of West Africa, they remained in Zuwara's mind Moors. So again, they're basically telling you that they don't know who these people are. But let's keep moving.
Okay, so
already. No.
Hold on, Unc. Hold on, Unc. Hold on 1 second. Go ahead, Rob. Finish up.
Okay, so then it'll go on. It says, for more likely, Zuwara's attribution of Moorness was simply a product of his predisposition based, as we suggested, on skin color and geography, to see the West Africans as Moors. What is significant here is not that Zuwara happened to identify these West Africans correctly as Zinganos, but that having acknowledged that they dressed differently, showed no clear signs of being Muslim, spoke as Zinagua, and called their homeland Zara, he should continue to refer to them as Moors. As it turned out, one of the 10 captives who Zuara took to be a noble, the grounds that he showed his continuous that he held preeminence over the others, did finally be able to understand Arab. That man, whose presumed social stature entitled him the name Ottawa. All right. So now, as we read further, it'll tell you why they calling these people this. So it says here that from the 5 or 6 black Moors in exchange for his, furthermore, he assured Henry that there were 2 others among the captives who could raise a similar ransom in the form of black Moors. Although we have already met a black Mooress, Zuara felt obliged on this occasion to offer an explanation. Here, you must note that these blacks were Moors, like the others, those their slaves, in accordance with ancient customs, which I believe to have been because of their curse, which after the flood, Noah laid upon his son Ham, cursing him in the way that his race should be subject to all others, blah, 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 blah. And you keep reading this, they're basically telling you that these people are black. And they thinking that these people are the same people that they accustomed to over there, but they're not. So if you want to call them, I don't care what you call them. The fact of the matter is they called all of those people in Rio de Oro Moors because they were black.
No, your source doesn't say that.
Yo, I just read it, bro. Like,
no,
yo, son, like,
it
yo, dude, I just read something else that, yo, this is what happens when you don't. Yo, bro, what did I just read? What did I just read? Did I not just read him calling them blacks? Did I just not read the reason why they called them blacks? Did I not just read that? This is what happens when you're talking about something that you didn't read and don't know. You don't just take your time, read the 22 pages and read it.
Isn't saying what you're saying.
I just read it. Yo, Garfield. Yo, hold on. Garfield. What did I just read? I need some people to say what I just read, bro.
My head hurts.
Come on, son. You fighting.
Hey, Shango. Do you need this source? Because I could put it in the chat. So you could, no, he don't have it. No, he doesn't. He screenshot what you had on the screen.
Okay,
I'm gonna put it in the chat.
22 pages. Go read it and then come back.
Put it in the chat.
Give me the source, because and my whole point was that his source is making a distinction between black and Moors.
I don't even know what this is.
No.
It's not doing that, bro.
No.
It does. No. Okay. I'll just pull it up.
Oh my God. This shit is annoying, bro. Like, yo, son, just read the whole shit, then come back, bro. Damn, bro.
I'll pull it up.
This shit is crazy, bro.
You know what's really crazy though? There wasn't no African king though. That's what's crazy.
He was a person of royalty, and he's a West African, bro.
Hey, give him that, raw boy. You gotta give him that. Give him that point. Please give Unc that point. Let's give him that point. Let that go.
I'm not giving Unc nothing. I'm trying to teach Unc a lesson to don't jump out the window. Stay in your BCE 300,000 years ago shit. Don't come over here.
Hold on for a minute, because you can out-talk me. But okay, where did it say that guy was royalty at, from a royal family? It said that.
Yes, it says that he was royal. I just read it, bro.
Yeah, go read that part again. I didn't hear it.
Oh my fucking God, bro.
I thought you said
this is crazy, bro.
I'm confused now.
This is crazy,
bro. Was it the royal cousin? Was it the king, queen? What? The royal what?
The royal family.
Figure it out right now, yo.
Y'all really trying to piss the wrong board off. Yo, I see what y'all do.
You can't piss me off. None of these people that's talking to me can't piss me off. Until you show me that you proficient in this, dog, I'm not even trying to hear you at this point. You never heard of this shit in your life. You sat on here and try to put Timbuktu and mix all shit up that ain't got nothing to do with what we talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry, bro.
No, you don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. You
can't
debate me. You can't debate me on this, dude.
Anytime, any day, and I'll win.
You can't do it. You can't do it. You can't.
You told you your own source doesn't agree with you.
Dude, I just read that it does, bro. So you can just keep talking.
It doesn't.
Okay, whatever you say, man.
Because more
I
became a
know.
religious
I know.
category.
Here we go. Here you go. Let me get
Yeah.
back to the point.
What page are you on?
On page. Let me see. I screenshot it.
460. 460. Yeah, 460.
So let's go to Henry had shut the second ship. Oh, let me get to this guy. Captives Wonder. The next page. I think it's What page is that? That you see 1994.
That's 460. So it's 460. That's 460. So 461.
Right. Talks about the Artisan, Zuara, Berbers, West Africans, correction. Okay. It says, as it turned out, one of the 10 captives whom Zara took to be a noble on the grounds that he showed his contours that he held preeminence or nobility over the others. So I don't know what you want to.
That's the game you want to play.
Yo, what you want me to do, son? I'm telling you what it said, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna tell you what it says.
So were they decentralized or not? I'm confused now.
Now you talking about decentralized, bro. Come on, son. Come on, son. Yes, they decentralized. Those people in DRO are not a part of none of them empires, bro. And you can't pull one source to show it. You can't.
How are they decentralized and they have no business? That don't make sense.
Yo, man. Okay, whatever, bro. I refer you to my video, and you go look at that, and then come back and talk to me, bro.
You might not understand state formation.
No, you might not understand. You don't know what you're talking about.
I do know what I'm talking about. I'm just using your sources to show you might not understand.
You can't use it. You don't have them. You don't have my sources. You don't even know what you're talking about.
I do. I'm reading the same source you're reading.
You just now started talking about decentralized. Is my screen still showing? Is my screen still showing? Do you have this book? Do you have this?
Hold on. Wait. That's the point. Ron Bourne, do you know what he's trying to say, though? Hey, Shango, tell him why you're saying what you're saying. Tell him why you're saying what you're saying.
I'm saying what I'm saying because we don't know who the hell these people are. We don't know if they were Africans, if they were Berbers, if they were Arabs. The term Moor is ambiguous.
Oh my God, bro.
On one sense, no, because this is important. Because if there wasn't a distinction, they wouldn't say Blackamoor and they wouldn't say Moor on the same paragraph. So there's a distinction there, right? So I'm trying to figure out who's the Blackamoor, who's the Moor.
It doesn't mention Blackamoor nowhere in that shit, bro. What are you talking about?
Yes, they did. They literally, the source you just gave, they said
Black Morris. So when they found
said Black Morris, not Blackamoor. Do you know what a Blackamoor is? Tell us what a Blackamoor is. What's a Blackamoor?
Is a Black Moor. That's literally.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong.
No,
we done here. I'm out of here. You body bag yourself. I don't want to talk to you. You're not ready yet, bro. Step your game up.
Okay.
Step your game up. You don't even know what a Blackamoor is. Crazy, bro.
All right, listen. We got 230 people watching. I want to say it was an enlightening discussion. I think we achieved something. Hold on. I'm saying that I think we achieved something. We learned some stuff who didn't know, and we good. I don't think we need to even,
Nah, we're gonna keep fucking. I'm gonna keep on head. Fuck that. I'm bringing on I got cabin fever. And I'm going in on him, son.
Going on. Do me a favor,
go ahead,
Phil. Go ahead. Not let him interrupt me. He's been doing me to the New York, Alibaba, Muhammad, the whole New York stuff, the whole thing. Okay, him and Truth, they've been cutting in the whole 9 yards. The expertise, they was experts at that. So let me just say this, ladies and gentlemen, go back to the other show, right? And you will clearly hear me say, show me where African kings was originally participating in the slave trade. I said, we know that later on down the line, you know what I'm saying, they did that. You know what I'm saying? We know they did that. And I use the keyword at first. Okay? At first, they didn't understand the ramifications of what the fuck they was doing. At first, they wasn't cutting deals. They wasn't. And I said things got decentralized, the trade networks got taken, and then based off of money and greed, they start participating in it. That's what I say. We got to this place because Truth, Uncle Truth, dove into the mix and brought up Albo the Moor. And I was wondering, like, why the fuck? I'm asking for an African king, but he don't bring an African king. He bring a guy whose ethnicity is in question at this particular point. We know who he was. We know what nation was he with. Who was he? Why are they using that guy? Then Rob Bourne reason to say, "Oh, nobility." What does it mean? Was he a duke? You know what I'm saying? Was he a prince? What? No, but was he the cousin, the second cousin? What does that mean?
Hey,
Everything
brother.
but
I
a
mean,
king, a bona fide king. That's what I'm looking for right
okay,
there,
brother.
bro.
I
That's all.
got
I don't know how
you.
we got here, yo.
But
Although
I'm
it was a
Okay,
good
I
read,
understand
though,
what
yo.
you're
That
saying.
was a good read. Hold on, that was a great
I
read.
understand. Everybody need
That
to
was a
read
great
that
read.
source, bro. But on some real
Yeah, that
shit
was a
though,
good one.
everybody need
No,
to
that's
read
some
that
good
source.
shit. Yeah, but it wasn't speaking to what the hell I was saying, and that's why I was up in arms. I'm like, really? And I thought maybe I was losing my mind because people in New York always make me seem like I'm losing my mind, like I must be teaching speaking Japanese or Chinese or something.
Yo, you fool, you fool out here on these
Hey,
streets, bro.
and by the way, I got some news for you, Devon Prospect is from New York. He's from the Bronx.
No, he not. He
Of
not from
course
New
he
York.
is.
Yes,
Yeah,
he is from
Devon
the
not from
Bronx.
New
He's
York.
originally from the Bronx. Yes, he is. He's from New York.
No, he not.
you can't tell.
Bro,
He's
stop it.
wrong, dude.
He's
Nah,
from
he don't got no
New
Bronx
York.
swagger.
Bro,
He not from the Bronx.
bro, he's from the he's from where Bambada never is from. He's from Castle Hill.
Nah, son.
All right.
I don't believe you,
Ask
son.
him. All right. He's still
Hey,
got his
Garfield,
apartment here in the
Garfield.
Bronx. What are you talking about?
Hey, Garfield.
Yeah.
I was almost feeling like they was trying to trick me into thinking because you was considered a noble that made you a king. And I know they wasn't trying to do that. Was they, Garfield? Please tell me they wasn't trying to do that. They see the word noble that make him a king.
Nah, I
Yo,
don't.
yo,
Okay.
you change your
Okay.
question up every time Truth tripped you up. You added
I
some shit
didn't.
in it to it.
No, the truth is, I simply said that the African king, the Christians lead off with this. Y'all enslaved yourself. African kings sold y'all into slavery. That's what everybody lead off with. And I'm saying, can we have context to it? And I said, there was no kings and queens in Europe planning the transcontinental slave trade. Then Trump jumped up and said, yeah, it was. And now he bring me to Dolo Lamore. Is that his name, Dolo?
Hold up. So wait a minute. You
Dula.
just said that. Wait, you said kings and queens, or what do you mean?
That's what I said. You know, like royalty, yo, like running the nation saying, yo, let's just do this to these people right here. You know what I'm saying?
No, you saying the Europeans didn't do that?
Didn't do what?
But you saying the Europeans didn't do what you just said?
Yeah, Europeans did everything that. Yeah,
Oh,
Europeans led the
okay.
way in that. Right. And I'm
Okay.
saying is the thing that everybody listening need to know that first of all, if we didn't have a slave economy, right, that we didn't have that system in place. So to think that they even remotely understood the European custom and the Roman custom of enslaving, not even the Roman custom, but the European custom, right, and the Muslim custom of enslaving a person is ridiculous. They didn't know that because they didn't have that in place. I think Shango said that 100 times. That system was not in place. So now we do know for sure that whatever they was giving people up for, prisoners of war, whatever, they didn't understand that at the end of the day, these Jews was never coming back and they was gonna be enslaved forever because they didn't
Okay.
have
So
that.
yeah.
We need to make that clear.
So brother, so how do
Yeah.
we explain the what you would call the Indian so-called slave trade? Not Indian, that's why I was here. It's just the word that they put on it. So, for instance, right? So you'll basically have the actual Arabs. They're running to grab the Bantus. They're taking the Bantus from the East Africa, and then you have some coming running in West Africa, and they sending them slaves to Iran to work on slave plantations to do salt. How do we explain that?
Saltpeter mines. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, so they all know they on them salt mines over there, and they all going in West Africa, and they getting these people, bro.
Yeah.
This is before the Europeans, right?
800 years prior.
I mean, so what I'm saying is, once these people do somehow down the line become Islamicized and stuff like that, whatever these wars are that they're having in between the people, they taking the people and they sending them. So that shit was a part of that was a part of the economy. Was it the main part? No, not at that time, but it was going down, son.
Yeah, but you just proved a valuable point, yo. That some foreign entity came in with that nonsense. Nobody starts with that. And I'm saying we need to start with that and then bring clarity to the whole situation, just like he did in
What's up,
detail.
sir?
That is the way it needs to be taught to our people. Not that we
You
just grab
guys
the nigga
start
and
now.
slave him. That was my point.
Got
you. All right, man.
I got you.
Yep, that's all I'm saying.
Hold on. Stay right there. Hold on. Hey, hold on a second, guys. Let me just put Sonny down real quick. Go ahead, Star.
Okay, yeah, what's going on, Garfield?
Yeah, I'm live. We got MBK. We was doing a little debate live. The MBK on Marcy Dagger Squad. We arguing about African kings and slave trade. But let's plug the debate tonight you got with Jabari and Polite. Go ahead, brother.
Oh man, first of all, I want to say MBK fell all the way the fuck off, man. Them dudes fell off, brother. I want to first say that, man. MBK, true story, and I don't know what the hell is wrong with true story. Rob Bourne, the only one that's keeping him alive right now, man. You know, so shout out to Rob Bourne, true story, and I fell off the damn map. But anyway, it's not about that. But I just want to let y'all know that the Polite debate with Brother Jabari, this is going to be a heavy hitter, and we're getting ready to start right now. We're lining it up. I'm waiting on Brother Polite to come in the building, and y'all don't want to miss this. So I know you're going to replay it again anyway, too, Garfield.
Yeah, so tomorrow, but we're going to watch it. It's live. It's going to start anytime now, right?
True story, man. True story, man. It's this dude, he's just a damn joke now.
Oh man, I can't let you do that. Nah. I ain't gonna let you do that. Nah.
Hey,
you can't do that. You can't do that.
In my chat room, everything is funny days. It's nothing serious with my brother, man. I'll be like, damn, bro.
Nah, that's true. That's how I get down, yo.
With all this scholarship you got, you don't need to be a clown today, brother. Come on out and teach the people, brother.
All right, cool. Oh, you
Black Power.
All right, man.
Love you, True.
All right, peace.
Yo, hold on. Yo, check this out.
What? Go ahead.
You see my screen?
Yeah.
So this is talking about the medieval Saharan slave trade. All right.
The Arabs and the Berber invasions.
Right.
Yep.
So it
coming
says
out of Spain.
Right. So now it says within a century of the first Arab incursions, Berber merchants were bringing a fairly regular supply of black slaves across the Central Desert to the new Islamic Caliphate Empire. These captives came from largest and seemingly limitless reservoirs of enslavable people in sub-Saharan Africa. So who's these people? For the medieval Islamic world, inner Africa became almost synonymous with and a legitimate source of slaves. Existing practices of enslavement, slavery, and slave dealing all tended to expand into the Sudan under the stimulus of the external and seemingly unstable demand, as they were later to respond in West Africa to the demands of the Atlantic slave trade. Then it goes, it is not clear how important slavery and the internal slave trade have been in the pre-Islamic Black Africa, or how deep their cultural and historical roots may have been. Yet what is clear that when the Arab first penetrated the Central Sahara in the mid-7th century, perhaps with commercial as well as purely military objectives, surplus slaves were readily available there, first as tribute and later as almost the only local commodity worth trading across the desert in Northwest Africa. That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, that's Zanzibar. They took them over there to saltpeter mines in Iraq.
Yeah, so you can see the source. This is the trans-Saharan slave trade.
Yeah, I already know about that.
That was the 9th century, right? Was that 9th century?
That's the first
7th
one.
century.
Yeah, that's the
7th
first
century.
one.
9th century. Okay. Yeah.
So
yeah, but let everybody know
start talking about West Africa and start talking about this commodity of slaves and shit. This shit been going on for a long time, bro.
Yeah, you got right. So you could never lead with the I think Shakhdum Kim said that. You should never lead with the European slave trade. Islam was in Africa first. You gotta lead with that. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. Yep. And so you trying to get around that. So you was like free pickings by the time the Europeans came back through. And I'll tell me if I'm wrong, Rob. I was under
Yo, let me tell you.
impression.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I was trying to find one group of people who didn't participate in no aspect of the slave trade, so that didn't like being indirectly or directly. And I was happy to find some people. I jumped out of my house, bro. I jumped out of my bed, son. And I found the Balanta people. I found the Susu people. I never heard of these people before. We don't talk about these tribes, but these dudes resisted everybody. But the most baffling thing to me is that how they got their weapons to fight the Africans who were Muslim, who was trying to slave niggas, and the Europeans who was just basically doing their bullshit, making people tribal wars. They resisted all trade with people. They like, we not trading with you at all. But guess who helped these niggas, bro? You know where they got their weapons from, son? The Luso Africans, the fucking Jews, bro. The fucking Jews. I had a heart attack, son.
Yeah.
I had a heart attack.
They ain't give it to them for free.
Oh, nah, they was basically mad because they had to give up all their shit and get kicked out of fucking Europe, and they still had their little trade going on, and they was living amongst the people, so they was like, yo, we gonna give y'all this steel and shit, that's how you make these weapons, and they was banging. That's crazy, bro.
The Masi resisted that too, yo.
Yeah, yeah, man. But these dudes wasn't trying to do, you see, they wasn't doing no trade with the European, though. We don't want to do nothing. We don't want nothing from you, son. Get out of here with your back. We don't want none of that shit. Get out of here.
Yeah, it was smart.
I was just happy to find some people.
Did San Jerry catch coronavirus too?
Did who?
San Jerry.
You said it. Why you say that? I hope not.
He said, those of us who recovered have a real account to share. There is no 5G connection to COVID-19. I mean, that's not saying he had it, but he said, those of us who recovered have a real account to share. There's no 5G connection to COVID-19.
Shit, he must be talking about himself. That's what it sounds like. Those of us.
Yeah, because this is on Jabari's post. Jabari talked about how he recovered. So he said, those of us. Damn.
Yeah, well, we still got to kind of teach the people how you can diagnose something without giving them a test, yo. It's more than one way to diagnose something without necessarily having a test, yo.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody should know that.
All right, cool. All right, listen, I'm gonna leave the show. Maybe we could find another topic that we having a problem with that is we need to discuss. This was good today, man. This was good. It's not about everybody agreeing.
I'm gonna come back with my sources tomorrow.
I mean, me and Robon is the same, man. I mean, when you're speaking truth, you're hoping everybody understands it, but not everybody gonna understand the truth the same way. Everybody loves.
And I don't got no problem with you, bro, Shango. If you want to hear, I'm just a hyper dude, son. I'll get past
it. No. You're just a New York dude. Tell the truth. It's a New York dude. That's all it is. You're just a New York dude. Yeah. Listen.
But anytime you want to debate a subject, Shango, I will happily oblige you. 9 times out of 10, I already have 30 or 40 slides.
You might not understand what he's saying, but you could read the slides for yourself, okay?
All right. I'm ready. Hey.
Whatever subject you want to debate, if you want it, 9 times out of time, I already have a presentation already ready, queued up, ready to go.
So whenever you're ready, we can talk about Mali and Timbuktu tomorrow. Yeah, that's an interesting topic. It's about Africa, so it's interesting.
So what we gonna talk about Mali? What about Timbuktu and Mali?
Didn't he say something that you said you disagree with about Mali?
No, I just did it. No, he disagrees with me that I'm saying that these coastal regions were decentralized from them. He doesn't agree with that. So if you want to debate that, we can do that.
Oh, decentralized? You mean from other governments? That's what y'all was talking about. That's the point I wanted him to refresh up.
Yeah. That right there. That point there.
He said they was basically one part of no damn kingdom or nothing like that. Is that what you were saying, Shango?
They was their own shit.
No. And then you said they had nobility, so I'm like, how can they be decentralized with nobility? A decentralized society would be the Igbo.
I got what you're saying. So so if you're saying that, right? I'm reading. We was just talking about Idaho. That's what we was talking about, and we was talking about him. So only thing I got from him is them saying that he was a noble type of person, and all of the people looked up to him as nobility. Now, as far as me talking about Guinea Bissau and all those places right there, yeah, we could get to that. Those are decentralized people. They are not part of those other bigger in the inner Africa. If you want to talk about that and prove that they are, we can do that.
Okay.
That's what I meant. I was only talking about Idaho the North. And then we separated into Guinea. And then I told you that these are decentralized states. They are not a part of Mali. They're not a part of those things. And you said they are. I said, okay, then, we can take that up. If you want to. I'm telling you, son, I be coming with like 60 gunshots, and I make people run, man. They don't be wanting to debate me, son. They run, son.
I got sources on that. I have more than, just, I have economic sources. I got archaeological sources.
Cool.
Right.
Dude, that shit is it's ambiguous, son. They'll say Amaziga, they'll say the Berber, then they'll say the dude is black, and then you heard me read it in the source. They are uncertain of the who those people was that they took. All they kept saying was that they black. That's all they kept saying, son.
So they said he was noble because niggas was listening to him, huh?
Yeah.
Really?
That's the truth. What you want me to
Really?
do? I'm not
Crazy.
going to make nothing up, son.
I know, but that was the source that was used. But that was the source that proved it was the kings that were selling us first. Come on, dog. I'm trying to tell you what it was used for.
Dude, you
Truth
changed
ain't
your
mean to me
argument.
that,
You changed your argument when Truth was spanking your ass.
No, that's
when
not
Truth
the truth,
was spanking you, you re-qualified it and put that qualifying marker in there, bro.
Hey, Garfield, I did that. Garfield, I'm asking you.
Yeah, you did. You know we the king of making videos, bro. Don't make me go do it don't make me go find that clip.
Yeah, go make that video. Yeah, go make that. Yeah, go make that.
Nah, I ain't doing that. I ain't making no video on you, son. I'm gonna leave you alone. I ain't fucking with you.
Appreciate you, bro.
I ain't fucking with you. This is how you know we bored, son. We ain't beating up Hebrews. We ain't beating up nobody else. We coming at each other.
Nah, we boys, yo. Especially Truth, that's my man right there, yo. We always get heated. Especially when talking about, he be like, don't come for the king. I hear y'all.
I mean, but Shango trying to get initiated. So you gonna see if you can get past the God. If you get past the God, we'll let you in. If you get past me, we'll let you in, bro.
I got you, Shango.
Hey,
you get past me, we let you in, man.
You know what's funny?
What's up, brother?
What's funny? Okay, so Rob Warren, the source he's given, literally what it's saying is the Portuguese went to Africa and started capturing Africa.
It is. You're right. I did say that. You're correct. You're correct. What he say?
That's all I was saying.
No, what he said?
They started stealing us.
Right.
Yeah, and what they did was when they did that, they realized they can't do it no more. They tried it. There's 2 ways that they tried, and they was like, "Yo, this shit ain't gonna work." They just dropped. They said that we was eating the European and all that. Hey, fuck it. I hope they did eat you, motherfuckers. I hope they did eat them. I mean, they was calling us savage. Yo, they chased us to the boat. We don't know what happened. We saw the Africans. They was eating the port. Yeah, eating you niggas. Fuck it, nigga. You niggas is fool. I hope they was eating their ass.
Oh man.
My point is that ultimately, when I hear, and I'm not saying y'all are doing this, but I hear on the platform, through the people on the platform, there's like this thing where it's like Africans did this, Africans did that. But I'm like, okay, well, we got to really dig into why this happened. Because you can't have a Songhai in Mali, you can't have a Jollof Kingdom, you can't have all these nations before the slave trade that were thriving like that based on a slave economy. They wouldn't be able to manufacture anything.
So you're right. But so what was the major thing that they had was gold, bro? and they was trading. What was they trading with these other people for? They want salt. So they trading shit from the North Africa coming all the way to West Africa. You just heard me read something about the trans-Saharan slave trade in West Africa in the 7th century. These dudes was going over there taking people. But who was the Muslims? It wasn't all of the people. It was just the royalty. You know what I mean? And in order to do trading with the West Africans, you had to accept Islam. I mean, and that's what they was doing. And it is what it is. So who is the people that those kings sold to them fucking Arab motherfuckers over there? You know what I'm saying? So this shit been going on for a long time, bro. And it has to be a part of the economy because the niggas was sending them niggas over there.
Wait, you talking about in the 7th century in West Africa?
Yeah, I just read it to you, brother. Sub-Saharan Africa. I just read it.
Because I know Kanem had a slave economy. Kanem definitely had a slave economy.
Yeah, but that's not in the 7th century, though. That's
later.
More,
east.
That's later, though.
The area we're talking about with Kaya Sisi Magan, because if we're talking about like 700s, then we're talking about ancient Ghana, Kaya Sisi. My accounts are that the Berbers are the ones who invaded the kingdom and were taking people. Like it was literally Berbers versus blacks.
You're right. I won't disagree. I won't disagree with that. But understand that they never took over those kingdoms. That shit didn't happen until the 1400s where that shit fell. Really, I mean, so when you dealing with that, these so-called people they was dealing to trade with these people, and then we got to go into who the traders was and all that other shit. I can't even remember them niggas' name. I got to go look that shit up. But it was these specific people that were coming from North Africa. I forgot the name of it. I can't remember it on the top of my head. But they was coming from that point, going into West Africa and going back and forth. Those were the people who were the bridge. I just forget the name of them. But yeah, man, that shit was crazy, bro. So it's a part of the economy, son. Niggas been selling niggas for a long time, bro. And all the European wanted to know, the first thing they wanted to know was, what's the geographical part of the land and where's this fucking money at? How y'all niggas doing trade?
You know what? I think that's a great debate topic. What was the economy in West Africa?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a perfect debate topic.
All right. You gotta pick a time frame though. So we not all over the place.
That's a fact. Let's do.
You want to do Ghana?
Do it before the slave trade.
Well, before the slave trade. So then you talking about, well, there always was a slave trade, but before the Atlantic slave trade?
Yeah, I'm talking about 1550 to probably like.
Yeah, but the 1500s, the slave trade was popping, bro.
Let's do. You know what? Let's do from the start of the Ghana Empire, about 1500. That's easy. Let's do that.
Right. Nah, that's a big jump because you have Ouagadougou first, and then it changes from where it's at to a different place, and then those are totally different people. They're not the same people.
But all the scholars agree that there's a continuity between Ouagadougou, the Mali, the Songhai. They all inherited certain things from each other.
Even they did.
Wait, because this is important, because Sunjata Keita, his army, part of his army was from Ouagadougou. That's how he was able to consolidate the 9 kingdoms of Mali. He had to go to Ouagadougou to go get help.
But how did he go to Ouagadougou and Ouagadougou already collapsed?
Ouagadougou still existed as a smaller state.
Really? I never read that nowhere. Where'd you get that one from?
Have you read the Chronicles of Sunjata?
I don't remember all of them. No, not in its totality.
I got the book.
This is what I do. Yeah, this is what I do. What I do is I go to the earliest sources that we have of West Africa, and that's the Arabs. The oldest writing that we have of them even mentioning Ghana is by the dude Yaku El Ab, whatever the last part, and that's the 9th century AD. That's the first time we even hear about the word Ghana. So when you saying when you say this, I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, I never seen that before. I mean, so once it collapses, no one really knows why, but we see the people migrating, you know what I'm saying, and they move up.
Yeah, but during Sunzada's time, Ghana still existed.
Hold on, Shango. I see my man Class of Shabazz. I ain't seen my dude in years, man. What's popping, Class of Shabazz? How you doing, brother?
West Africa enough, he'll pop out of nowhere.
Yeah, man. Talk about West Africa. He just pop up like a damn, like Jesus, man. Just pop up like Jesus.
Yeah, man. Just let me know what you want to talk about. You want to talk about the economy of ancient Ghana or the Ghana?
Yeah, he can't do nothing. Shit, he's stuck in a house like everybody else.
Hold up. Wait, before you go, Garfield, hold up. Yo, listen, I ain't do this to you because I'm saving it for True Story, and I could have did it to you. True Story want the one-on-one. He want the one-on-one about the Nzinga problem. Do you want that smoke? Yes or no?
Nah, I'm focusing on the pandemic. Yo, I'm gonna get him though.
Yo, son, you soft, son. You soft. You're not an intellectual gunfighter no more. You're not an intellectual gunfighter no more, bro.
Yeah, you're right.
We gonna have to take your title right now. Yo,
y'all gonna have it.
Nah, son, you can't do that, son. You can't run, son.
Yeah, I'm not running. I'm just not ready for that right now. I'm telling you what I know.
Come on, son. Come on. Yo,
I did 2 days away from the. I done found a couple of my cousins done got it, yo. I gotta get back on my grind, yo.
I see what I got you. I see what you're saying.
I keep educating on that shit. We can bring your man in though, Shabazz. Go ahead and beat Truth up on that.
Yeah, okay, he can come too. He might agree because he knows.
Yeah, he might agree. He know the history.
He know that shit.
You know, MBK scared of Class of Shabazz, man. Stop it.
Yeah, he's scared.
Y'all scared. Y'all scared of Class of Shabazz, man. Stop it. Y'all scared. Y'all scared of my bad Class of Shabazz. Man.
Turmoil in the building.
True Story. That's the only man True Story is scared of. Don't say nothing, Rob. That's the only man True Story is scared of.
Nah, man, he be agreeing with.
Don't say nothing, man. Did I say don't say nothing? Why you feeding into my shit, man? Look at you.
Yo, you can't help yourself, dog. Listen, man. I mean, listen, nigga. I don't know what's up with you, though. I mean, I don't know what to do with you now, because now you're about to start talking about the Bible again. You're gonna start talking about that.
Nah. I'm not talking about the Bible. I'm good.
This nigga gonna be talking about the seals of fucking Ashurnapal and fucking I don't know what that shit is.
Don't say Nebuchadnezzar. It'd be a rap.
Oh, what nigga? The Cyrus cylinder. Yo, this nigga went in on a silent cylinder for a whole year, bro. and fucking Nebunitis. What's the nigga name? Nebunitis. Nigga made me remember that shit. The Cyrus cylinder and Nebunitis. And let's talk about the look, Garfield. Look. Let's talk about the prophecies of Daniel. Daniel 11. When was Egypt a desert land? When was Egypt a desert land?
hey, I'm gonna
hold on, Garfield. You know what's crazy? That when the Bible come up, Garfield eyes lighten up. When evolution and vaccines come in, my eyes light up. When West Africa come in, truth to niggas, their eyes be like, boom, Rob, boy, let's get it. That's why they was trying to kill us these last 2 days, Garfield.
We take on all takes. We take on all cases, man. And then Sean, come on. Check this out. Sean, come on. He's supposed to be on our side. He nigga switch up as he get on the live. Yeah, I can't with these West Africans. It's like a damn secret society with these niggas. You know what I'm saying? We bring Shabazz on. Shabazz might turn on us. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about these West African dudes, man. I don't know about these dudes.
You know who we need on that? We need Shabazz on that Kemet West African joint, yo. He'll tear that shit up.
Oh, he tear that shit up, man. He don't play with that. Oh man. He got like 10 papers on that already.
Yeah, what about fact, yo? He's like, I'm balling because of that. He left. He's like, I ain't fucking y'all niggas no more. He left.
Wait, are y'all saying Kemet wasn't African?
No.
Oh, hold on, man. Shango, please don't tell me that you're down with the West Africa Quebec connection. Don't do it.
Yeah, Shango, you doing that?
Shango, come on, man. What you saying, Shango?
Let me talk. Have you seen the DNA test of Ramesses?
Oh man,
No, don't use that. No, man.
Yo, we gotta take it. Now we gotta take a step back, son.
You know what? Shango. Why don't you debate Raw Born on that tomorrow?
Nah, son, I ain't talking about no Egypt, nothing.
I could. I could, but no, I'm just asking because. So are we saying that quote unquote West African people haven't been in a very wide region of the continent?
No.
No,
we're not saying that.
Okay.
I'm saying we right here in Americas, we're from the Caribbean, where we're from North, South, Central America, we ain't got nothing to do with Kemet. And if you do find, I'm not gonna speak in absolutes. Yeah. But I'm gonna say it is. I have not found evidence at this point in time to show that African Americans or Caribbean folks have any connection to Kemet.
I'm not saying motherfuckers are from Kemet. I'm just saying that to think that there wasn't trade, migration, and all that coming from Kemet doesn't make sense.
When was this trade?
Okay.
When was this trade?
So this trade is at least going on from the time of Ramesses III. That's the earliest.
Okay. Hey,
at least.
I hope you are using Ali Muhammad's source. But hold on. Let me ask you a question though. Let me ask you a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Ramesses III got E1B1A, right?
Mm-hmm.
We in North America and Caribbean, most of us have E1B1A. How did E1B1A get to Kemet?
People traveled there.
All right. So if people traveled there from somewhere, so isn't that telling you he's actually not from there?
But you said there was no connection. But
no, I'm asking you a question. Doesn't that mean that he traveled, his family or his descendants or his ancestors were from somewhere and they traveled to Kemet? Would you agree to that?
Yeah. If you read Diop, if you read Diop, he says, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Southern Africans, the Great Lakes Africans traveled up the Nile to go to Kemet. That's a fact because the DNA says the whole 18th through 20th dynasty, Southern African and Great Lakes African. It also says tropical West African. But we know that when the Sahara dries up, people
migrate. They move from each other. Not a lot of people. Some people.
Okay, so why are we acting like it's just we're all separate people? The DNA, his whole lineage, like 3 dynasties say West Africa on there. West African DNA.
Okay, but
we also have palm oil. Wait, hold on. We also got palm oil in the pyramids.
You have
palm
what?
Oil comes from West Africa.
You have what?
That is a product exclusively of West Africa.
Hold on. What did you just say a while ago?
They found palm oil in Kemet.
Okay, so the palm oil come from West Africa for which dynasty?
Shoot. I want to say it was like, I think it was like 22,000 BC is when it was dated to.
22,000?
I don't know the exact source. I don't know the exact dynasty.
Hold on. You said the 22nd dynasty or the 22,000 years ago?
No, I said 2000 BC.
Oh, 2000 BC. Oh, okay. So they found oil from West Africa.
Palm oil, shea butter. I mean, these are all West African things.
Well, let me ask you this question, though. Why?
Hola, America. Hola, England.
Truly believe that that's a concern that Brother Polite also has. And so debating him has not been something I've been concerned about. Well, today is a different day. Brother Jabari was ill for 3 weeks and woke up in a different world. I have seen a brother that I love, a brother that I respect, a brother that I am comfortable locking arms with take the sincere left turn. This brother has done things that I would say are irresponsible. He says that I'm his elder. We could have actually done this actually out of the public eye, where I would have said, here are the concerns about what I hear you saying. But to be honest, when I actually got better and reintegrated into the community and saw some of the things that had been said, I really think that he's doing us a disservice. I was forced into this debate. And I'm going to tell you that I today am going to show you sources. I today am not going to show you things that are cherry picked from old sources and old studies. That is exactly what my dear brother is going to do. And I'm going to talk about the topic. Now, I have never said this publicly, but you're about to hear it today. As I have watched my dear brother Polite over the years, I know that his chief strategy is to use terminology that will regale the audience, excite them with his facility in the English language, and at the same time, not talk about the issue. When we go in today, family, I'm asking you to mash 4 on your keyboard when you hear him do it. Let him know that he's speaking around the issue, that he's being slippery, and tell him that Brother Jabari does not get impressed by large words. Today, Brother Polite is going to realize why he retired, why he recessed, because he's going to catch a bad one. Peace.
Where's Sinetta at? Since y'all call Sinetta the Don King, tell Sinetta to call that bitch up and see if he can get his ass in the ring for 10 rounds.
All right, man. So, yo, listen, it's about to go down right now. Brother Jabari, I want to let you know, my brother, that we're going to give you the first 12 minutes in the first opening round. And the first round is going to be the first round is, will 5G put us at risk? And does it have any connection with coronavirus that we should have any concerns about, my brother? So that's the first round. And I'm going to give you 2 brothers each 12 minutes apiece. And the time is going to start when you start, my brother. I'm going to put the time up. Polite, if you got your phone, you could also have your time ready. Brother Jabari, the time will start when you start talking.
Yes, thank you so much, Sonetta. Let me just once reiterate at the outset that this brother is a brother that I respect.
You starting now? You want me to start?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
I like him. When we're together, we enjoy each other's company. I will say, however, that if he is going to do something that is damaging to our community, I am obligated to speak. We are not going to let Brother Polite play semantic games, attempt to make intellectual arguments that are fun for someone who is an intellectual. He is an intellectual, while Black and brown bodies are in body bags. And so it is of critical importance for us to hold him accountable for what he said. And we're going to get it in today. So let me start by showing you part of a brief presentation I have. I'm going to share my screen here. And I truly think that this hopefully will put this in perspective. I also hope that it's going to prevent our dear brother from being as slippery as I have seen him been on this topic. And he's going to know what I'm talking about. He's really going to know what I'm talking about. Here we go. This is called Countering the Conspiratorial Connection Between COVID-19 and 5G Technology. First of all, let's evaluate some of Brother Polite's spurious claims. He's made them. He's clearly made them. And then the first thing he does when he's called on them is he slips and he slides. This brother does more rope-a-dope than Ali ever did. He clearly has connected COVID-19 and 5G. And I will say to you, family, that it is inappropriate to do so. Why? Let me explain. If you were in a burning building and you grabbed your child and were running to the exit, and you were concerned about which exit was engulfed in flames or which exit had way too much smoke for you to successfully exit, and you came upon Brother Polite in the hallway and he said, you could get out on the second floor. There might be an exit on the second floor. The first thing you would say to him is there an exit or not? If you went to the second floor and realized there was no exit, you would have to say, that brother just cost me my life. In many ways, I am arguing that that is exactly what our dear brother is doing. Whether he is saying that COVID-19 causes 5G, it seems that there are some times that he almost says that, or he is saying there's a connection between COVID-19 and 5G. Either of them are irresponsible when black and brown bodies are in body bags. Let's listen to what Brother Polite has said. I want to establish his slipperiness. I want to establish the fact that he has been absolutely clear on this issue without being clear on this issue at the outset. Take a listen.
So now I was looking up this lady named Dana Ashley. She's pretty dope, and she made a reference to this book, Magnetobiologist. Yeah, 200 and change. You want to hide something there, go not only put it in the book, make it an expensive book. But listen, she really went in on this point in the book. And
Hope we're able to play it. Here we go.
This was very powerful. She was talking about the new technology and our craving for the advancements in technology. One of the main things that we love and praise technology for, particularly Wi-Fi, we can make it move faster. It's all about speed. But once we get to 60 megahertz, the 60 megahertz interacts with oxygen. And in turn, what that does, the frequency impacts the oxygen. So when we're talking about oxygen is O, and that represents the atom. But when we're talking about O2, which is oxygen, now we're talking about the molecular structure, which means we're dealing with a covalent bond where only 2 electrons can stay in the innermost valence and 8 at max in the outermost valence. And here you see them covalently bonded, but they're sharing 2 electrons, but we're still dealing with 8 total. Okay, this is important. So what happens is with 60 megahertz, when we use this new technology, because what happens is coronavirus existed a long time ago, but the technology that we're dealing with today didn't exist a long time ago, and it hasn't been at this amplitude or this magnified ever. So now we see that 60 megahertz can cause electrons to spin. In doing so, we now have to consider the spin frequency of electrons when the oxygen molecular structure, being that it's covalently bonded, and these electrons start spinning. What does that mean to represent for the biological body? Well, what that means to represent is that something called hemoglobin, which is a protein that's responsible for the uptake of oxygen to be distributed throughout the body, can no longer do its job effectively. All this merely means is that the 60 megahertz compromises the integrity of the spin frequency of the covalent bonding that transpires within the confines of the oxygen molecular structure, causes the biological entity to have problems using oxygen. Okay, that's what that means. That's all it's means. Technology is causing us to have problems using oxygen. And what happens when you don't get enough oxygen? You pass out, right? Have you seen the videos with people in China? They just randomly pass out and they say, oh shit, that person got coronavirus. Let's go to the next slide. You see.
So I want you to be clear that he is making the connection between COVID-19 and 5G. And I want you to also recognize that even on this slide, it says, this is from his IG, you are vulnerable to the virus due to technology. So I want to just put that up front because I know that he's going to slip and slide. Not today. Not today. I'm ready for that.
Well, let's stop.
Listen to this.
So in 1918, radio waves were enveloped across this planet. And then what happened? We had the Spanish flu. And when does the Spanish flu have its inception? In China. And then when they decided to create radar waves, okay, in the 1960s. And by the time they began to commercialize it, okay, when they started initiating in 1964 and worked their way into 1968, the Doppler, okay, and militarizing. This is what it's really about, the militarization of the technology, not the technology that the laity has access to, but the militarization of it, okay? The quantizing of this type of technology is what we really need to talk about, because that's a different type of impact, okay? That's going to transcend your non-ionizing fields that cell phones, microwaves, and radio waves are all on. So in 1968, you see what?
Hola, America.
Why couldn't right now. Here we go. Temper tantrum number 8. Start broadcast. All right. So I showed this before, but I gotta show it again. I don't care nothing about you commissions. You understand? I'm gonna tell you this right now. Before the first dynasty in Kemet, there existed in West Africa and Ghana the Kentapo culture. The Kentapo tradition is from 3600 BCE to 3200 BCE. Ghana is associated with the earliest manifestations of figurative art, personal adornment, semi-sedentary village settlements, and food production in the late Stone Age of the Savannah Boris of West Africa. I'm gonna catch my next tantrum. Hold on. Here we go. So this comes from the 2019 release of the West African DNA. So this is all native. Oh no, I got to grab the wrong one. Oops, I grabbed the wrong one. I got to go back. My bad. Hold on. I grabbed the wrong one. I thought I had this thing underlined and bookmarked, man. Get back up here. Get back up here. Where are my bookmarks? Oh man. Dang. I gotta get this. West Africa New. Where is it? Where'd it go? Ah man, it disappeared, man. Damn it. Try one more time, man. This crazy, man. I have to show this.
I think Shango got you discombobulated, man.
Nah, I made him up. There it is. I got it. I knew I had it underlined. Bang. A possible new deep lineage in the ancestry of humans. So this is Ankh shit right here, right? So now we getting deep in this. The deep relationship among present-day modern human lineages are far from simple. One model that genomic findings suggest is that the oldest modern human split in Africa led to a lineage represented in high proportion in West Africa, a split that must have occurred before 300,000 to 200,000 years ago to date. Now, the separation of the ancient East and South African foragers. An expansion of modern humans associated with the latest Stone Age and Upper Paleolithic transitions after around 50,000 years ago could then have concentrated all populations in Africa. So I know y'all already saw the new West African DNA or the 8,000-year-old person and the 4,000. That is the first time that they was able to sequence the DNA of somebody in West Africa. And they put it against all the other things. And now we have 2 ghost populations. And I'm just here to tell you, West Africa before 3000 BCE, we in the building. We right here. I'm not a commission. We our own people. Those people are Africans, but I'm riding for the West African flag, baby. All right, I'm done now.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, we got the yams. The yams come up 4,500 BC.
Oh no, I got something with yam cultivation in Nigeria, 11,000. I had to do that to get at the Hebrew niggas. I had to pull that up on them. When Garfield sabotaged my presentation.
Which presentation I sabotage?
Slides, bro.
Peace.
All right, family, let's get right to it. Brother Polite, do you need me to read the first one over for you? Brother Polite, you hear me?
He's muted probably.
Oh, yeah.
You're muted.
Unmute just, there you go. Brother Polite, would you like for me to read it again? I will read it again so the people can get it. You ready? You hear me?
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Will 5G put us at risk, and does it have any connection does it have any connection with coronavirus that we should have concerns about? You got 12 minutes. You got 12 minutes, my brother. The time will start when you start, Brother Polite.
Okay. I'm gonna just share my screen, all right?
Yeah, just let me know when to go. Let me know when you're ready.
Man, this is okay. This is light. You wasted all your time that round. Hold on. Let me get to this. Share. Let's see if we get this right. All right, let me know when you can see.
I see it. I see it, brother. Are we ready?
All right, you see what I got there?
Yes.
Okay, hold on. Let me I can't. Okay, let's see how this works. Great. So
okay, time will start, brother. We going.
COVID-19, politics and 5G, underestimation, the propagation of propaganda. Let's get to it. What is Jabari talking about? Okay, the purpose of this debate, hold on, I can't move this thing.
I paused your time. I stopped your time.
Good. It's the picture, the image. I don't want to see it. All right, bet. I'm good.
Okay, we resume.
Perfect. All right. What is Jabari talking about? The purpose of this debate is to disagree, not agree. I'll say it again, family. What is Jabari talking about? He's telling you I'm going to go against something that I'm actually for. The purpose of this debate is to disagree, not to agree. Now let's do this. I did come today to confirm that we are vulnerable to the viruses, including coronavirus, viruses in general. I agree with you, Jabari. I don't know what you're doing over there, but that doesn't make me look bad. It makes you look bad. I also came today to confirm that there is a connection between technology and this virus. I agree with this, Jabari. So what the hell are you talking about? And as far as me being irresponsible, Jabari, as far as me being irresponsible, let me just do this. Hold on. Let me get to work. Whoa, what the hell is that?
So my question for Jabari is this. Jabari, were you diagnosed with COVID-19?
No. What happened is you might know that there's a problem with getting COVID-19 tests.
So, okay. Jabari's been going around town saying that he had COVID-19. And when he was asked, yo, did you get tested for COVID-19? Jabari said, see what happened was, how many times have we joked when someone says, you see what happened was, we know what's gonna come after that, right? A damn lie. So if you didn't get tested for COVID-19 and you told everybody you had COVID-19, then damn it, you gave yourself a self-diagnosis. Nothing could be more irresponsible than that. You probably, because you could take drugs that correspond with a false diagnosis. You have other people scared to death of your false diagnosis. But we'll talk about this later. Irresponsible? Nothing can be more irresponsible than saying you got a deadly disease that you admit you never confirmed you had. Irresponsible? Wow. Straight out the gate. He spent his time agreeing with me. I'm gonna spend my time disagreeing with him. Okay, so the House passed bills to gain upper hand and race to 5G. I want everybody to know that the politics that exists with America is the U.S., okay, you can see by Emily Barham, the U.S. has long warned against allowing China to set the standards around 5G network development, pointing to Beijing track record to disregarding human rights and intellectual properties. Meanwhile, the Secure 5G and Beyond Act, which passed 4133, would draw up a whole government strategy to protect U.S. telecommunication networks from national security threats posed to Chinese telecommunication companies like Huawei and ZTE, which are currently leading the rollout of 5G networks worldwide. This is very important. I want us to go down here. okay, to the bottom left. The House on Wednesday passed a slew of bills aimed at giving the U.S. a leg up over China in the race to implement the super fast next generation wireless networks known as 5G. Y'all can screenshot this and keep all of this. I just want you guys to know that in the next side, on the right-hand side, you see why Britain's wide decision frustrated lawmakers. It's a threat to national security. So now one of America's alliances, which you'll read in this article over here, connected with a Chinese company for technology that if they were to hack into our system, they could get in there quicker and get out before our system could even recognize it or defend ourselves against it. So they're in a race to compete against China. That means even if the technology implicates us in any way, the question is, which one is more important, national security or the niggas that might be impacted by it? That's what I want y'all to think about. So according to FCC, Federal Communications Commission, we're going to see that if you download FCC 19126A1, which is a PDF, I want y'all to check it out. I want you guys to consider this when we listen to Jabari. Data has not been updated since cell phones were introduced. So according to the Federal Communications Commission, the data that Jabari or anybody else wants to talk about in terms of if electromagnetic waves will impact us biologically for the worst. Understand that the data that's being used, because they like talking about outdated data, how about the regulations for the electromagnetic energies that can impact us has never been updated since cell phones came out. Okay, I'll say this again proudly, in case y'all missed it. Data has not been updated since cell phones were introduced. If you study the FCC, who's in charge of these things, you'll realize there are no guidelines, but no safety standards. There are guidelines, but there's no safety standards. And you're also going to realize that the guidelines are based on 6 minutes of use. Meaning, if you use the technology that's in question past 6 minutes, we're in a threshold where we don't understand what the hell we might come out with. I hope you understand this, okay? I hope you guys understand this. Yes, the energy levels associated with radio frequency energy, including both radio waves and microwaves, are not great enough to cause ionization. Let's go here. Samsung warning. If you go online or you got a Samsung phone, it's going to tell you a minimum separation of 6 inches should be maintained with you and your phone. How many of you keep your phone in your back pocket? How many of you keep your phone in your front pocket? How many of you put your phone by your breast? Okay, but the energy levels associated with radio frequency energy, including both radio waves and microwaves, are not great enough to cause ionization of atoms and molecules. Therefore, RF energy is a type of non-ionizing radiation. Other types of non-ionizing radiation include visible light, infrared, heat, other forms of electromagnetic radiation, relatively low frequencies. While RF energy does not ionize particles, large amounts can increase body temperatures and cause tissue damage. What we're going to do, and the FDA also lets you know that, hey, there's nothing they can do. They don't regulate any of this stuff, but they can fix it. I'm not even going to complain about the little shit that I got going on with this computer. 4G, light. I want you guys to understand the difference between 4G and 5G is that the waves are higher in frequency with 5G, which means that since they're higher in frequency, they can't travel as far, so they have to put these posts up 500 to 1,500 feet apart. Right now, the technology that we're dealing with is 20 kilometers, and it's a little over 12 miles from one site to the next. But in this particular case, it is what, 500 to 1,500 feet, less than a mile apart. That's how they're going to be setting up the technology. Now, let's go forward right here. Diabetics subject to dirty electricity. What I decided to do was look at how today's technology is already impacting us for the worst. Because if we can confirm that today's technology is already impacting us for the worst, then it stands to reason if we raise the level of frequency, if we're already at risk from the frequency we already been acclimated to, then chances are if we raise the frequency, we'll be hurt even more. I hope this is fair for people to understand. So right here, we see at the National Center for Biotechnology Information, very credible site, transient, okay, electromagnetic fields, transient meaning kind of on, off and on, off and on, off and on, not always on. In the kilohertz range on electrical wiring may be contributing to elevated blood sugar levels among diabetics and pre-diabetics by closely following plasma glucose levels. In 4 type 1 and type 2 diabetics, we find they responded directly to the amount of dirty electricity in their environment. When we go down to the conclusion, what we're going to find out, and you guys have it here for your own reading purposes, what you're going to find out is that this dirty electricity is in fact destroying the DNA. It's been confirmed. This is from technology we already have, folks. This is not from 5G. I just want to make this clear. This is from technology we already have. It is not from 5G. I won't digress. I'll continue to move forward. Here we have this, okay? Only 2.4 gigahertz of insulin resistance. And in that one, when you read the model, I left the model there so you can see the human beings that are involved. In this particular instance, we're going to talk about rodents. We're going to talk about a rat because we share certain genes with rats. It's a fact. So sometimes they're going to use rats instead of human beings to subject them to these type of ailments. Okay, the purpose here is a great concern regarding the possible adverse effects of electromagnetic radiation. This study investigated the effects of EMR-induced Wi-Fi 2.45 gigahertz on insulin secretion and antioxidant redox systems in the rat pancreas. Okay, the results, we're gonna go down to our data show that the weight and gain in Wi-Fi exposed group was significantly lower than the control group at 2.45 gigahertz. This is very low. This is before we do a 5G. So now we see insulin resistance can be brought about from being subject to a Wi-Fi signal at only 2.4 gigahertz. Okay, 5G will be more gigahertz than this. I hope people understand what I'm saying. The reason why I picked diabetes is because Black people have diabetes. So if Black people have diabetes, guess what's gonna happen? We're gonna compound interest because coronavirus implicates people that have diabetes. And evidently, the technology that we're dealing with now that we're subject to also implicates us. Okay, those of us that have diabetes. So when you put the two together, it compounds interest. So there's definitely a correlation. The correlation that I'm making is this: Black people who have diabetes can ill afford to have yet something else attacking them while they have diabetes. I want people to understand this, but I'm gonna keep going forward. Right here, we have this. Radio frequency waves. This is from the Lancet Oncology. We see that there's a cancer called glioma that attacks the central nervous system. And here we found the team concluded that based on studies of the highest quality of causal interpretation between mobile phone RF EMF exposure and glioma is possible. Smaller studies supported to similar conclusion of acoustic neuroma, but the evidence was not convincing to other types of cancer. So here we find that glioma mimics viral encephalitis. So we have a cancer brought about from radio frequencies from a cell phone that looks like a virus. This means that we don't know better, we can misinterpret a cancer for a virus that was brought about by a cell phone. And this virus in particular was encephalitis. But when we keep studying, we find out that the coronavirus and encephalitis actually look similar as well. Okay, so this is not saying that the technology creates the virus. The technology makes us more vulnerable, susceptible to the virus. And as we see, Black people are already targeted by the virus because the virus is an RNA virus. So this means that it takes control of the Golgi apparatus in the rough endoplasmic reticulum and creates a new mandate for what the cells need to do, okay? And that doesn't help us no way in particular. As I had to rush through what I was doing, I just hope you understand. I packed as much as information as I possibly can in that very short 12 minutes time. Wish we had 15 minutes. But nonetheless, there's a connection between the two. And the connection is Black people are a target. We need to take the electromagnetic waves just as serious as we take the coronavirus, because one makes us vulnerable to the other, and we can't have two things targeting our people and tearing us down at the same time. That's the connection. I did not say the radio frequencies create coronavirus, but there is a connection. Black people
where we going with it?
All right, family. We got past first round, but I want to let you know, my brother, unshare your screen, please, sir. I want to let you know, my brother Jabari, that you have 10 minutes in this first round to rebuttal, and Polite will have a follow-up 10 minutes to rebut. So it's on you, my brother Jabari. The time will start when you start. This is still the first round. You have 10 minutes to rebuttal. And so, brother Jabari, unmute yourself and let's get it in.
Peace, family. Peace, peace, peace. I really want to
your time starts. Go.
I really want to say to my dear brother Polite that when you admit that you're not talking about the topic, and then when you're not talking about the topic, when you're not admitting about talking about the topic, it's a short day for Jabari. And I'm comfortable with it being a short day. I just thought that you would do a little bit more. First of all, let me start by saying that with regard to I thought that he might actually bring up my diagnosis, which is really sad, because let's be really clear about something. Very, very clear. Let's be very clear. I actually was very ill. I had all of the symptoms and still going out of my house to try to get tested. And I want you to know that there are a lot of problems with testing. This is not something that Jabari Osaze is saying. Virtually anyone who has been paying attention should know that testing is a problem, not just for me, but for virtually everyone who has attempted to get tested. And so for him to do that, after, of course, something's playing. Is that me or is that you?
Genuinely not a temporary fix.
For someone to actually say that after greeting me and saying, I'm glad you're well and all of the good stuff, that's kind of in poor taste. But let me show you exactly what happened. So let me address this very quickly. I'm going to show you. And, you know, honestly, folks, I could have just said that I got a positive test, but you should know that's not how Brother Jabari is. I'm not going to actually misrepresent anything. How would you know if I got a test or not? This is how people with honor behave. I'm going to show you how our dear brother is slipping in a few moments. But look at this. As I told you, I went several times to my doctor, and I also went to City MD twice to try to get tested. In fact, they did not test me for COVID. They said they did not have the facilities to do that at that time. What they tested me for, and you can see here on my the summary of the visit, what they tested me for was the flu. Can you see that here? They tested me for the flu. Now, there were only two things that could have caused my symptoms, the flu or COVID-19. And so you'll see that while they tested me for the flu, they diagnosed me with what they call a viral syndrome. And I want you to understand that that is the situation that we're in. That's the reason why I am saying to you that I had COVID. Now, I'm going to say to you, I really did try to get tested. Everyone is. I also want you to see this. You can see that they say that I should get tested for COVID because I meet the clinical criteria for testing. I didn't just make this up. I did not make it up. And so this is the situation we're in. Now, I'm doing that because I want you to understand that I'm a person that has honor. Let me explain to you that our dear brother is actually behaving like he doesn't have honor. He continues to actually show you things that relate not to actually 5G technology, but actually cell phones. If Brother Polite was so concerned about cell phones, why in the world would Brother Polite be, I mean, this brother, I believe he owns more than one cell phone. And I want you to really see this, family. By the way, here's the Lancet article that he continues to show. And I don't know why he would come with such a weak source when I already tore it up in front of him. But, you know, sometimes people, you know, what my mother used to say from Guyana is sometimes you don't see, if you don't hear, you must feel. Well, he's going to feel it today. This is the article that he's referring to. This article has nothing to do with 5G technology. It was published on February 2002, first of all. And you should understand this is long-term risk from mobile phones, not towers, mobile phones. You must ask yourself an important question here. Is Brother Polite actually concerned about mobile phones? Or is he just doing this because it's fun to actually have a discussion around a topic that allows him to intellectually spar? That is what our dear brother is doing. He doesn't really think that they're dangerous, even though he is misrepresenting you in the middle of a pandemic. Take a look at this. When he actually came into our program, I want you to understand that what our dear brother did was actually kind of irresponsible. But, you know, I guess I shouldn't really be surprised that he did something irresponsible, because the reason why we're here is because our brother does things that are irresponsible. I want you to, wait, this is not showing the screen. Come on. Sanet, I need you to pause for 1 second, just as you did for him. Let me get the window ready. Because I want to show you the window, but it's not coming up on the, it's not coming up in Zoom. It's kind of unusual because I play videos all the time. Let's see if I can just do it this way. Okay, I'm going to share the screen. Let's see if it shows. You can put it back. Take a look at this video. Now, now you know that our brother Polite is so concerned about the safety of cell phones. Take a look at as he comes in. What does he do around his cell phone as he is sitting with us on the platform?
Can I say this? I wanna highlight.
He brings his baby daughter is only a few months old, that beautiful princess. And what does he do? He has her play with the cell phone. In fact, if I had more time, I would play you what he actually says. He actually says that she messes with the cell phone and he can't seem to get it back. He says, kids, you know, they do things with our technology and then we can't figure it out. His daughter has played with his cell phone many times. If it was so dangerous that we should all be so concerned, this brother wouldn't have his beautiful baby daughter doing that. Look at her play with it. This is why I say that our brother is being irresponsible. He doesn't actually believe what he is arguing. And Black people are dying. This is irresponsible, Brother Polite. Also, I want you to see something else that he just did that doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but I think by now you should be prepared for that. I want you to continue to mash your fours because I know you hear that what he's talking about is not about the topic. Take a look at this. This is the source that he just used. This is light work, Brother Polite, light work. And he's talking about dirty electricity. But I want you to understand that the dirty electricity is in what? The kilohertz range. The kilohertz range. Why does he think he can get away with that? You know why? Because he knows that most of the people listening have no idea what he's referring to. They have no idea what the ranges are. Well, Brother Polite, you have to recognize that if you're going to come against me, you gotta come stronger. Take a look at this. I want you to see that the 5G area is usually from 30, less than 30, all the way up to 300 gigahertz. What's in the kilohertz range? All the way down here, ultra low frequency. Is Brother Polite saying that you should not watch television? Is that what he's saying? Is he saying that the broadcasts are dangerous? That is what he's saying. That's what's in the lowest possible kilohertz range. Don't let him get away with this light work. And also, don't let this brother do what he always does. I want you to see if you recognize this person.
The flatulation of the matter by transmitting the effervescence of the Indonesian proximity in order to further segregate the crux of my venereal infection.
I honestly did not know that Brother Polite was part of the Living Color cast. That's what he's doing. Don't let him get away with it. Don't let him use large words simply for the point of using large words. Don't let him insult a brother who was 2002, first of all. And you should understand this is long-term risk from mobile phones, not towers, mobile phones. You must ask yourself an important question here. Is Brother Polite actually concerned about mobile phones? Or is he just doing this because it's fun to actually have a discussion around a topic that allows him to intellectually spar? That is what our dear brother is doing. He doesn't really think that they're dangerous, even though he is misrepresenting you in the middle of a pandemic. Take a look at this. When he actually came into our program, I want you to understand that what our dear brother did was actually kind of irresponsible. But, you know, I guess I shouldn't really be surprised that he did something irresponsible, because the reason why we're here is because our brother does things that are irresponsible. I want you to, wait, this is not showing the screen. Come on. Sonetta, I need you to pause for 1 second, just as you did for him. Let me get the window ready, because I want to show you the window, but it's not coming up on the, it's not coming up in Zoom. It's kind of unusual because I play videos all the time. Let's see if I can just do it this way. Okay, I'm going to share the screen. Let's see if it shows. You can put it back. Take a look at this video. Now, now you know that our brother Polite is so concerned about the safety of cell phones. Take a look at as he comes in. What does he do around his cell phone as he is sitting with us on the platform?
Can I say this? I wanna highlight.
He brings his baby daughter is only a few months old, that beautiful princess. And what does he do? He has her play with the cell phone. In fact, if I had more time, I would play you what he actually says. He actually says that she messes with the cell phone and he can't seem to get it back. He says, kids, you know, they do things with our technology and then we can't figure it out. His daughter has played with his cell phone many times. If it was so dangerous that we should all be so concerned, this brother wouldn't have his beautiful baby daughter doing that. Look at her play with it. This is why I say that our brother is being irresponsible. He doesn't actually believe what he is arguing. And Black people are dying. This is irresponsible, Brother Polite. Also, I want you to see something else that he just did that doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but I think by now you should be prepared for that. I want you to continue to mash your fours because I know you hear that what he's talking about is not about the topic. Take a look at this. This is the source that he just used. This is light work, Brother Polite, light work. And he's talking about dirty electricity. But I want you to understand that the dirty electricity is in what? The kilohertz range. The kilohertz range. Why does he think he can get away with that? You know why? Because he knows that most of the people listening have no idea what he's referring to. They have no idea what the ranges are. Well, Brother Polite, you have to recognize that if you're going to come against me, you gotta come stronger. Take a look at this. I want you to see that the 5G area is usually from 30, less than 30, all the way up to 300 gigahertz. What's in the kilohertz range? All the way down here, ultra low frequency. Is Brother Polite saying that you should not watch television? Is that what he's saying? Is he saying that the broadcasts are dangerous? That is what he's saying. That's what's in the lowest possible kilohertz range. Don't let him get away with this light work. And also, don't let this brother do what he always does. I want you to see if you recognize this person.
The flatulation of the matter by transmitting the effervescence of the Indonesian proximity in order to further segregate the crux of my venereal infection.
I honestly did not know that Brother Polite was part of the Living Color cast. That's what he's doing. Don't let him get away with it. Don't let him use large words simply for the point of using large words. Don't let him insult a brother who was very ill simply because he thinks he should insult someone to try to destroy their credibility. I want you to recognize that this is what you're seeing. I want you to recognize that Brother Polite is very ill simply because he thinks he should insult someone to try to destroy their credibility. I want you to recognize that this is what you're seeing. I want you to recognize that Brother Polite is not actually arguing something that he believes. Don't let him get away with it, family. arguing something that he believes. Don't let him get away with it, family. Your families, your children, your grandmother, your mother are at stake. Peace.
Where we going with it?
Your families, your children, your grandmother, your mother are at stake. Peace.
Where we going with it? Where we going with it?
Damn, man, this is I knew this was gonna be a power.
We going with it?
Damn, man, this is I knew this was gonna be a powerful debate right here, man. I mean, good information coming from both sides. Brother Polite, I want to let you know, my brother, that you got 10 minutes to rebuttal, and the powerful debate right here, man. I mean, good information coming from both sides. Brother Polite, I want to let you know, my brother, that you got 10 minutes to rebuttal, and the time will start when you start, my brother. Let me know when you're ready. When you start, my brother, let me know when you're ready. Unmute yourself, Polite. All right, I hear you. Powerful information from both sides, man. Woo! Mute yourself, Polite. All right, I hear you. Powerful information from both sides, man. Woo!
Real quick, I'm about to get started.
I told y'all, man, that this right here was going to be the best of the best right here. See what I'm saying? I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Y'all got y'all popcorn out there?
Real quick, I'm about to get started.
I told y'all, man, that this right here was going to be the best of the best right here. See what I'm saying? I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Y'all got y'all popcorn out there? Y'all got y'all popcorn out there? I see I got Garfield in the stands. You know what I'm saying? I get popcorn out there. I see I got Garfield in the stands. You know what I'm saying? I can only imagine Garfield. Only imagine Garfield. Garfield out there. Oh, man.